What we do here is go back.
There we go, and we should be live. Good evening everyone. Let me know if you can hear me and or see me. Both would be ideal, but one or the other is absolutely fine. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then hopefully the audio is coming through crystal clear. If you're watching it on the live stream, then hopefully they're both coming through clear. I'll wait to see what is happening in the chat. Sorry, we started a little bit early tonight. Strangely found myself organised and ready to go, so figured I would hit the button early on. Rick says all good. Thank you very much. And Mark says all good. Excellent. Digital Demonic Davros says, I see you, but you know, yeah. Can't do much about it, unfortunately. So that seems to be working. Rick says it's AI mic. If only. Let's go see if the overhead's working. Yep, that appears to be working fine. And we have a new camera. Hello. Can you see me? Oh no. Yeah, you can. Just about. Don't think that's angled very well, is it? Let's see if that... Oh. No, that's not going to work at all.
Told me about that one. I think I'm safe at
there we go.
point.
Got the little webcam. Now this was the one that we ordered from Amazon, which was posted as one of our deals. This is the EPOS Extreme 1 4K webcam. So hopefully it's coming through okay and you can see a little bit of a slightly different shot now. Hopefully that looks okay as well. Let me know in the chat if you think that the picture quality is satisfactory. It's not a particularly good angle on the monitor there, but it seems to work. At least that way when I'm reading your comments you can see what I'm actually doing rather than just me kind of just looking over at that camera there. Anyway, hopefully you understand and hopefully it looks okay. I'm not too sure about the frame rate. Colours look okay, I think. Might need a little bit of fine tuning, but overall I think it doesn't look too bad at all. Yeah, I think so.
Should we do super chat?
Yeah, let's do the super chat. Let's address those. Whilst I'm in this side of the room, I'm getting absolutely blinded. Have I plugged my mouse in yet? Ah, there we go. Right, super chats from Rick H. Thank you very much, Rick H, for your $2 twice. Disco, 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 and disco, disco, disco. Is that come up on the screen? Yes, it is. Excellent stuff. Things are working. Who'd have thought it?
The light isn't.
And let's click that there. And there, and we'll like those as well. Thank you very much, Rick, for both of those. It says double the fun and half the calories. If only that was a thing. Excellent stuff. So yeah, just we'll wait for a few more of you to get in. Again, I do apologise. Seems okay. Very swap shop. Digital Demonic Davros says it gives Mike the riz the kids all talk about. I don't know what you just said. Oh, I'm on that camera, aren't I? Sorry. It's going to be weird getting used to having a different camera in a different place. I probably need to get it onto... actually, I wonder what I can do to put it somewhere a bit nicer.
Near me.
Is that okay-ish? That'll do. Now, the idea is with this camera, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up... Because we're taking a look at the Antec C5 ARGB tonight, going to be using the webcam to try and get in a little bit close and personal so you can see some of the bits on the inside when we're doing these streams normally. Because we're using the camera which is over there, it's hard for me to kind of move the camera around and get it focused and all that kind of stuff. So I figured I'll just get a USB webcam with a long cable on it. That way, if I've got to do anything, I can just stuff the camera in there, yeah, hold it, you know, all that kind of usual stuff. So yeah, hopefully it's working okay. There we go. But yeah, I don't think the quality is absolutely brilliant. It is a 4K camera, and weirdly, although we're streaming at 1080p, which I suppose really we should stream at 4K. Not that it really makes a difference anyway, but anyway, yeah. What was I going to say? Something. Oh yeah. No, what was I going to say? Yes, the camera. It doesn't actually. It's basically a 4K sensor. So if you set it to 1080p, all it does is just crop in the image to whatever's in the middle. So rather than being like switching from 4K to 1080p, it doesn't. It just crops the 4K, which I guess is what happens anyway. But normally, when you do that sort of cropping on a traditional web camera, it just looks the same. It's just the details different. So the actual focal size remains the same. Whereas with this, it's like 4K at, I don't know, maybe like 10 mil. You set it to 1080p and it suddenly becomes like a 30 mil equivalent, which is a bit odd. And I'm not quite used to it. Anyway, could you look at both cameras at the same time? That would want some manual dexterity of the ocular cavities, but maybe it might work. I don't know. Matthew Day says, early, what magic is this? I know. Colours look washed out. Now this is just how I normally look. This is like real, I think. It's difficult to tell. It does look a bit washed out. I don't know. It kind of looks okay, I think. Anyway, I'm going to go back to the other camera because it's hurting my neck already. There we go. And we're back. And does that look significantly different? I would hope so for the camera that cost considerably more money. At least, well, a lot more than 30 quid. There we go. Right. Normal service has resumed. There we go. So, on tonight's stream, there are many things that we can discuss. Lots of shenanigans going on this week in the terms of the tech space. Mostly regarding MSRPs. MSRPs and the bull crap that they are. I thought AMD were better than this, but clearly they are owned by the same people as Nvidia, shareholder-wise, so yeah, it's kind of what we've come to expect, I guess. I think most of us, deep down, because of AMD having the tiny little slither of market share that they have in the graphics market of about 10%, you would hope that they would try and do something a little bit better, but yeah, it isn't down to AMD, it's down to their shareholders, and their shareholders are bastards, so we've been royally screwed up the poo shoot, so to speak. Hopefully I haven't put that too graphically. I could have bent over on the table and demonstrated, but I don't think that's right for viewing before 8 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, MSRP is basically dead. I think, personally, well, because of when the launch was on Thursday, I believe it was. Was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday. Or was it Friday? I'm losing track of time. Anyway, because of when the launch was and the whole MSRP thing, I personally feel that most of us have been duped somewhat. It feels very off. Now, with Nvidia, now I'm not promoting Nvidia and I'm not saying Nvidia are better or worse. It's which do you prefer, having the flu or having the shits? It's kind of, they're both the same thing. They're both pretty bad. But it's ultimately Nvidia, because they have their Founders Edition cards, if they have a MSRP, yes, it may be out of stock, but at least when there potentially will be stock coming back, those MSRP prices, that's hard to say, should stick. Now, they may be inflated anyway to start with. Who knows? That's a discussion for another time. But the fact that AMD deliberately come out and marketed these cards at, well, $529 and $599 in terms of dollars, and the equivalent, obviously, prices elsewhere. Yeah, it seems to be very off. And the fact that almost everybody seems to have known that the MSRP prices were introductory prices, not MSRP prices, that to me stinks to high heaven. And I think that it is on, yeah, it's incumbent on the reviewers that have already done reviews. If they've done a day one review with the MSRP prices, I feel personally they should redo the videos, or at least do an update to the video or link in the video to a new version of the video with the actual MSRP prices, not the introductory MSRP prices, because they're two different things. And if you do a review based on frames per dollar or frames per whatever, based on a financial price which has been given to you, if that price is no longer even a thing, then I think it should be looked into. And certainly I looked on AMD's website. The MSRP prices, let me know if you want to go to any of your AMD sites around the world at the moment. Go in there and look at the 9000 series. Are they still quoting the MSRP prices of 529 or 549 or whatever it was, and 599? If they are, I think they need to have a word, because it's just obviously isn't a thing. The 599 and the 549 or whatever price it is, the introductory price is purely an introductory price. And somebody needs to stand up and say, no, this is bullshit. Now, Nvidia, again, their MSRP prices on the Founders cards may have changed. I honestly haven't had a look. I haven't paid that great deal of attention to it. But for this, a lot of us, I think, judging by the chat and judging by the comments and judging by the frustration faced by a lot of UK viewers trying to purchase a day one 9070 or 9070 XT, who have been basically told that, well, it's only going to be the first few units which are going to be at that price, then it goes up. Like, how is that even a thing? Like, if you have an MSRP or like an entry-level price for a card, and you have entry-level cards, for them to then just go up and that not be a thing anymore, surely they should have said in big bloody print, made out of whiskey bottles so you could see it from 6 miles high on the beach, like an SOS, saying these are introductory prices. They will not last. Then I think people would have been like, oh, that's good, let's get in and try and get a card early. Rather than be like, well, some people would be thinking, well, that's all right, that's the MSRP, I'll get one the next time round. But when the next time comes around, that isn't going to be the MSRP anymore. It's a completely different ballgame. And it annoys the hell out of me. Now, I personally spent 2 hours of my time wasted on the website for OC UK, that's Overclockers UK, and I wanted to get the cheapest possible 9070 XT. I didn't care what model it was, just an MSRP model, because there is an MSRP and it was highly touted in the media by AMD and all of the reviewers. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Let's go for one of those. It seems like it's a pretty good choice, especially at this MSRP price. 2 hours, within a minute or two of actually being on the site when it went live, because I refreshed the page a few times, I could add it to my basket. I had that card at MSRP in my basket from about 1 minute past 2 PM here in the UK. I spent a further 2 hours trying to further myself from the basket to the checkout to the payment screen, only to be told at approximately just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon that all of the cards were sold out. So what about the one in my basket? It just seems like I wasn't the only person with this problem. There were literally hundreds, if not thousands of people all having the same problem. A lot of us were over on the Overclockers UK Discord venting our fury, saying, like, what the hell is going on? Surely you should have seen this coming. It wasn't a surprise that this was going to be a popular launch. And due to the hype and the fake MSRP prices which were published, people were clearly going to be interested in it. But no, they decide to run their website on some 486 or some mini PC, and it just completely folded under the load. Now, obviously, it's a big company. They are part of a conglomerate which earns billions of dollars over their worldwide kind of net distribution. Surely they should invest in their sales system or have some kind of thing that once you put something in your basket, you have X amount of time to check out. And it does seem that almost within an hour of the products going live, there were already sculpt versions appearing on eBay UK for massively inflated prices. So clearly some scalpers were checking out quite easily, but for us, no, we couldn't. So yeah, that was extremely frustrating. And also, just to cap it off, this is a dig at OC UK specifically. I was on their Discord and we were all kind of chipping in saying, yeah, this is not good. Like, we're getting a 504 screen, whatever. Trying to update them saying like, this is the problems we're facing. And after basically being told that the card was no longer available, or I could pre-order one at a massively inflated price of almost £100 more, I could pre-order one, then that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So in a polite way, I went onto their Discord and I just said, great, thanks, I've just wasted 2 hours of my time trying to check out, having an item in my basket, only to be told that it is now out of stock, but I can pay more money if I want to next time. Basically, I said, you guys suck. This is an absolute disgrace. And because I said they suck and this is a disgrace, I got banned from their Discord. So thank you very much. It's basically, yeah, if that's the way you want to run your Discord and that's the way you want to run what is effectively another arm of your customer service, then you honestly do not deserve the money from anybody, because that is a despicable way. If a customer gets angry or frustrated, it's your position, it's your place to basically tell the customer what they want to hear, make things right, keep your customer base, not just ban them because you don't like bad mouthing. Like if I said, oh, you're fucking assholes, yes, bad language, I would expect to be banned, but I didn't. I just said you suck. And it was a very disappointing experience. Anyway, Kath keeps on pointing at the screen. Jay Gordon says, yeah, Overclocker's site kept crashing for me. What?
Right near the bottom.
Jay Gordon says, eBuyer did a nasty to people who had paid for their cards, calling them pre-orders when they had stock and wanted more for them. I think it's an absolute disgrace. They knew this was going to be a big thing for a lot of gamers. And of course, over the last few years, we've been going through this over and over, basically since the COVID era, when there's just been sculpting, lack of availability, all that kind of usual nonsense, which it was expected. Overclockers actually had the gall to post on their Facebook page saying that I think they actually apologised. They just basically said, oh, we're trying to learn from the experiences on the launch day and we will be taking XYZ measures to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's like, this isn't a new thing. This happens every single launch. They manage to mess up their websites. Now, I'm calling out Overclockers here because I had specific thing of this, or experience of this week. I will also call out eBuyer as well. Now, eBuyer, this is a great one. eBuyer, I was doing the same. So I was between eBuyer and Overclockers. I looked at the scan and there was basically nothing there. So I thought, nah, sod that. I'm not paying ridiculously way over the odds for a graphics card. I want an MSRP card. They didn't have any, so yeah, they were kicked out of the loop straight away. I looked on CCL, they were in a queue, so that was fine. I didn't get one from there, so yeah, whatever. eBuyer, same deal. Put the card I wanted into the basket for whatever it was, 569 or something, or 579. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but anyway, I put it in the basket, tried to check out. Obviously, their site crashed again. Kept on refreshing as I was going between the two, and basically the same thing happened, so didn't get one from there either, which funnily enough then, just after 5 o'clock I think it was in the afternoon, eBuyer sent me an email saying you've still got something in your basket, which was the 9070 XT at the original MSRP price, and it had a link on the bottom saying buy it now. So okay, click on the link, buy it now, and as if to no surprise to anybody whatsoever, I end up back at the eBuyer site and magically the price had gone up another £110 or £120, which is like, why would you send that an email saying that there's an item in your basket, you can buy it now, but not have the product and still not have it at that price? That seems to be either false advertising or just bad management. I'm not too sure which it is. But anyway, it's a nightmare. Now I know that there's companies which are trying to obviously scalp a little bit. It happens. These are companies. They're not our friends. They just want to make money, and we are a way for them to make money, which is unfortunate, but that is the way it is. But it all comes down to the point of, if you have something advertised for sale at a certain price, sell it at that price. If you know in advance, which they did, that the prices are going to be raised in a very, very short time, so this is like a limited offer, you should, and I'm pretty sure legally you have to say limited time offer while stocks last, or something to that effect, or this price will be this for X amount of units, or this price will be an introductory price, the normal price will be whatever it is. I'm pretty sure there is a law that says you have to do that. I'm pretty sure. Obviously, when it comes down to big companies these days, the law doesn't really apply to them. So they basically do whatever they want, and if they get a slap on the wrist or a fine or whatever, they just pay the fine because they've made enough money anyway. So yeah, I'm rather pissed off. I am seriously considering getting a RX 9070, which has only gone up £10 from 529 to 539, and they still seem to be looking quite good, at least comparatively now. If you look at the MSRP price, or what you could potentially buy a 9070 for versus an XT, there's a massive, like, 200, almost £300 gap between them in some places, which is absolutely ludicrous. And I'm sure that the XT isn't £300 better than the non-XT version. I think that's pretty much a given. So anyway, very, very disappointing experience. I would have loved to have got hold of a 9070 XT to compare it with some of the other cards we've got here, and to yeah, just give you guys my opinion and experience of it. But it isn't to be. I'm kind of glad in some ways that it isn't, because it is a lot of money to spend on a graphics card, let's be fair. I think anything over £300, £400 for a graphics card is a little bit mental. I think it always is, but we've seemed to have been trained or conditioned that this is the new norm. And I think it's going to end up breaking PC gaming. I really do. Because it's not so much the graphics card, it's basically got all the other stuff as well. Everything else is getting really expensive. Motherboards, 200 quid, processors, 400, 500 quid, RAM, more and more expensive. It's just, yeah, it's all getting nuts. Power supplies, 100 quid. It's madness, it really is. Anyway. Rant almost over, I think.
Go on, Dave, look at Dave.
Okay. Viali says, hi Mike, I just got my Asus RX 9070 delivered today. It absolutely destroys my 6700 XT. Awesome, I'm glad you're pleased with it. Nick Barnes says, Mike and Kath, apologies. Thought 2 minutes early, no, 20 minutes late. Lol, no worries. We started a bit early. I wanted to get the rant out of the way because I knew it was going to be a thing. So yeah, I personally think that it's been one of those things where AMD, I don't know how AMD have managed to basically screw up another product launch with this creating what I think is a lot of bad feeling towards AMD. Now, some people may put the hate towards the retailers. Some people are going to put the hate towards the reviewers. Some people are going to put the hate towards AMD. Some people are going to put it towards AMD's governing body or shareholders. They're all to blame. They are all complicit in the same thing. So however you go about it, everybody is involved in it, some way, shape or form. And ultimately, I guess, us as customers paying these ridiculous prices.
We only got it at MSRP from Scan.
From Scan? Well, MSRP? Which one did you get? Asus Prime. I didn't think they had any. At 579, 569. That's impressive. I didn't even see that listed on there. I could have swore I looked on there and it was like 50, 60 pounds dearer, which is why I didn't bother.
Come on, Davey. Anyway.
Well, Bill says, howdy Mike and Kath, hope you're well. Sorry to hear your dilemma. It's not so much a dilemma, it's disappointing. It seems that, like, the PC industry, which allegedly they all say it's falling on their ass and there's lots of companies which are going out of business, and more of them are falling by the wayside, and they're struggling to keep going, and they just keep on doing stupid crap like this. It gets to a point where people will just, well, some of the more casual gamers will just say, sod it, I'll buy a PlayStation, or sod it, I'll buy an Xbox, or I'll just stick with the computer I've got. Which actually I would say to a lot of people, and actually when a lot of people ask me, especially on emails and Discord stuff, and they say, well, this is the PC I've got, fancy an upgrade, what do you think? It's like, well, basically, if your PC works and you can play your games you want at the moment, unless you've got like ridiculous amounts of money, or you want to be ripped off, just stick with what you got.
Like me.
Like Kath. Yeah. Kath's doing really well. Anyway, see what you guys are saying about this. Because yeah, I'm not happy about it, I'll be honest. And like when you're seeing people, not without calling anybody out, I was watching Adamant IT, which I strongly suggest you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. And on the live stream today, Caradog has picked up a like some sort of limited edition Power Color card, which I always thought that Power Color were one of those like cheapo brands. When I used to work in the PC shop, like Power Color stuff we used to get in, it was like kind of not trash tier, but almost close to it. So yeah, Power Color have got some Red Devil, the some limited edition, and Caradog paid almost 800 quid for it, for a 9070 XT, which again, if it's got an MSRP of like 570 quid, and you're paying 800 quid just because it's a special edition, that seems nuts. That seems genuinely nuts. Regardless of how well it performs, like to be basically rinsed of 200 quid plus for a graphics card, like if you've got the money, fine, do it. But that would hurt. That would genuinely hurt. That would be like when I bought the 6500 XTs for 229 quid. That kind of hurt a bit, but it's only 229 quid. It was only maybe about, I don't know, 20, 30 quid more than what it was worth. 20 to 30 quid, you can kind of swallow that reasonably easily. But 200 quid markup, ouch, that is painful. So anyway, yeah, if you're considering any of that stuff, then I would, at the moment, I would say just hold on to your money. If you've got a graphics card and it works, keep hold of it. Because I'm pretty sure we'll get to a point in and around sort of May, June time, maybe even April, where the PC industry is basically on its ass. Because the money's running out globally. It's not just the US, not just England, it's not just wherever, Europe. It's happening everywhere. The slowdown is happening. So it's going to get to a point where either things are going to be sold a lot cheaper to try and stimulate the economy, or basically everyone's screwed. So, yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to spend over the odds for a graphics card? Do you want to spend over the odds for anything? Realistically, you don't, do you? Let's be honest. Like, if you don't mind it's your hobby, and maybe you've given up smoking crack and you've got a load of spare change, get yourself a graphics card. It's certainly a lot more healthier than smoking crack. But resale value? Because this bubble's going to burst at some point. And at the moment, the prices, I think, personally, have got to have peaked. They can't get much worse, surely. Now, we said that during the COVID era, and I don't think it's ever actually recovered fully. Whether it will. It does appear that on the plus side, Nvidia appeared to be launching a 5060, which is due out very shortly, and also they're mulling over the ideas of a 5050 to compete with the Intel B580 cards, which I think actually that's quite an interesting thing. An RX 5050. God knows how much RAM it's going to have on it, but hopefully it's got more than 8 gigs. But I don't think it will have. But anyway, it might be an option. And also, of course, AMD as well. They will be having their 9060, which will be out very shortly as well. So there are things in the pipeline. But as always, yeah, keep an eye on the MSRPs and just try not to get ripped off. It's very easy to get caught up in the moment. like it is with eBay and stuff like that, when you're going on there, you're bidding on stuff, and there's something you want, and you know how much you want to pay for it, but you get into that kind of bidding frenzy, and you're like, no, I bloody want this. And you just keep on tapping away in the numbers, and eventually you buy something, and after you think, shit, I didn't really want to pay that much. It's too late, you've done it. So be careful, be sensible, try not to get caught up on the hype train, and yeah, let's hope that AMD can learn from this and not be such dicks next time. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they take the 9060 launch, and maybe even the 9050 if there is going to be one. I think they need to learn from this. Yes, it's a nice card and it performs very well, but if you mess around with pricing like you did without being clear about it, you are going to piss off your customer base. And AMD's GPU line is hemorrhaging. Literally hemorrhaging money, and also buyers. The market is shrinking. They could lose considerably more. This little blip of 9070s might help their sales figures a little bit, but ultimately they are truly and utterly dominated by Nvidia in the sales scheme. Nvidia having way in excess of 80% of the market, and they're mad prices as well. So I don't know. It's bizarre. I don't know. I'm just confused by the whole thing. Anyway, let's say hello to some of you lovely people in the chat, because I haven't done it yet. So hello to O'Reilly. Hello to Craig MCM. Hello to Danmar. Hey Rick H. We've already said hello to you, but I'll say it again because you're a lovely, lovely man. DDD 3D. Digital Demonic Davros. How are you? IoT Dude. Good old Mark Gaines. How you doing, Mark? Rick Welly Bob, how you doing, Welly Bob? Ruru2M, how you doing? Says hi nerds. Nice. David Thompson, how you doing, David? Jay Gordon. Whenever I see David Thompson, I always want to see Derek Thompson, because I used to work on Casualty, and that was the guy who played Charlie. Whenever I see the name, I just, I don't know why, my brain auto translates it. I suppose it's from reading all those scripts and you just see the name over and over. Anyway, moving on. Vader Racing VR, how you doing? Glenn's in the chat, how you doing, Glenn? And thanks for the PayPal, much appreciated. Rasher says, hi all, what's going on? Midweek stream and now early stream, I know. There'll be another midweek stream this week coming as well. We've already scheduled the one for next Saturday, which will be taking a look at the half 500 from Cooler Master. That was a great deal, we got it for half price, which is nice. Made it easy to do the thumbnail anyway. But there's going to be another midweek stream coming up next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Not too sure timings, but we're kind of working on it. So yeah, there is a little bit of a rebuild or a bit of a build going on. So I do need to do that, and I figured, well, if I'm doing it, I might as well just turn the cameras on. It's much easier. So anyway, there you go. CB says, could you look at both cameras? Oh no, we've already said that. Hello, CB. Matthew Day, Vader Racing, we said. What's got? Doman 2000, good evening from the Netherlands. How you doing? Rick says MSRP lies. It is actually lies. If AMD was a kid and we the consumers were the parent, you know for a fact that telling porcupines like that, you'd get a clip round the ear hole and probably get grounded. You'd definitely get sent to your room. Demon Lord says it's 1:30 AM in India. Wow, that's quite a scary name, Demon Lord. Very demonic. Anyway, hope you get a good night's sleep, or good morning sleep, I suppose it would be now. Roderick Kennedy says hi, hope you're all well. Yes, not doing too bad. Mark Berry is in the chat. How you doing? Paul Lamont, good old Paul. How you doing, Paul? Greetings all. So MSRP should stand for must stop ridiculous prices. I like that a lot. Actually, I should put the webcam camera. If I'm looking at the text, I might as well be facing roughly in the right direction. I think the camera needs to be a bit lower down. They shouldn't build a webcam into a monitor so you can literally look at the monitor. They've done it on cameras, on phones. I don't know what they do on monitors. You know. Kenny D's in the house as well. Kenny D says, hi everyone, how you doing?
Tape across the middle of your screen, would you?
Yeah. Gary Sicat. Oh, I can never do that. Gary S. Hi, Kathy says. Rick H says, I'm going to spend my money on Intel graphics cards. Good for you. I'm looking at the camera again. It's such a thing. I can't help it. Where we go? Rasher says 2 hours. No wonder you're annoyed. I have got a good mind to actually build them for my time. Although, I don't think they would do it. Legally, possibly, you might have a leg to stand on, being that it was so badly done, but I doubt it. Vlad FCP says, hi Mike and Kath. How you doing, Vlad? Sinister Chef. Did I miss anything? Had to serve out lunch at work. I don't think you missed anything, just me ranting a bit. Nothing to write home about. Strawberry Fields forever. Jay Gordon, eBuyer did a nasty. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, who had paid for cars, calling in pre-orders when they had stock but wanted more for them. It's bang out of order, isn't it? I don't like it at all. Rod says not the first time with them. No. Dutch Jans says WTF, you've already started. I have. That was a while back. Arnold G, how you doing, Arnold? And gaming since 1981. The retailers beat the scalpers by scalping the customer first. It does seem that that is the case. It does feel very, I don't know, it don't feel right. And actually, I think as a consumer of PC parts on, I would consider a reasonable scale, obviously buying stuff for the channel and what have you, I said this to Kath. I said, this is why I use Amazon. Because at least with Amazon, you see the price on the screen, you pay it, it turns up to your door. If you don't like it, you send it back within 30 days. So even if you feel like you've been robbed, you can like, buyer's remorse, I'll fling it back. But with the UK retailers, it's an absolute nightmare. Not only are you getting fleeced at the tills, you got awful customer support, generally, and sending anything back, like, you got to pass an entire pop quiz, or like a driving theory test, like, just to even get an RMA number. At least with Amazon, it's like, I don't like the way it looks on my shelf in the box. Click return within 30 days or whatever it is. And they'll just like, okay, no worries. And Royal Mail or Parcel Force or whoever, or DPD will turn up the next day or whatever and pick up the parcel from your house. You don't even have to leave the house. It's brilliant. Not good. It's not good for exercise.
Do whatever they like.
I think even if they were the only retailer going, they're making so much money. Why change? Yes, they could make more money, but you know.
They're not as good as they used to be, are they?
Dutch Jan says, "Good avond, Elidren." I didn't pass that language at school. Mind you, I didn't think I passed many. I struggled in English. Actually, I didn't even do my English exam. And that was mostly coursework. Jay Gordon says, most of all MSRP cards are on eBay at 2 times the MSRP bot prices. Win again. The bastards. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? It really is. Rick saying, after the 3080 first day shenanigans way back, I don't trust or believe any prices suggested. Luckily, Dave Aiken got me a Founders Edition 4080 on launch. This will last me a long time, I feel. The thing is, though, with the 4080 Super, it was hard to get at launch, but even if you didn't get one on launch, when they come back into stock, at least it was still the same price. That's my whole thing here, that they're advertising a price, they're basically marketing an entire product line, or an entire series of products, with an MSRP, saying MSRP starting from. But they knew, AMD knew this wasn't a thing. Like, let me turn around to the other camera, because I've got to rant again. AMD, I feel personally, now this is all conjecture and my own personal thoughts, so I don't have any insider information, just from reading the landscape, I believe, truthfully, that AMD had no interest whatsoever of keeping the MSRP at the low price. No interest in it whatsoever. And there's a really good way of finding out why, or their reasoning behind that. And it's because there are no NBA cards or made by AMD cards. There are none at all. There's not a reference model available for the 9000 series. And when was the last time that AMD launched a 9000 series card or a generational card and didn't have a single kind of Founders style edition? It's been a long time. It's very, very rare that that doesn't happen. But this time round, not a single one. Not even a reference design board Not even, basically the images you see on AMD's website are all computer generated. There's not a single card been made. That is why I believe AMD had no interest or no, I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for here. They basically knew that the MSRP was bullshit. And they put the pressure onto the manufacturers and the retailers. Because AMD have said, right, we're going to advertise the absolute shit out of this. These are the MSRP prices. Oh, by the way, they're introductory. Now, depending on when AMD told the manufacturers this, or when the manufacturers told the retailers this, whoever in the chain decided to make this change, they're going to be the ones that are going to cop for it, because ultimately it makes AMD look like the criminal. Now, I know a lot of people have got a lot of time for AMD and got a soft spot for them. I do too, but this makes them look like criminals. It genuinely does. And the fact that they didn't bother making their own card as well just highlights the fact that they knew that they couldn't sell this card at that price. So they didn't bother. And now no one else will either. Or at least until the point that there's so many on the market that they flooded it, in which case it has to come back to the MSRP prices. Or people just lose interest.
Old man Withers, I got RX 9070 Sapphire Pulse for MSRP a few hours after the launch at Overclockers.
That's impressive. I don't know how you managed to do that, but you were very lucky. Right, let's move on. Chris Hartford, the margins on PC hardware are terrible. No excuse, but if demand pushes up prices, companies will be tempted to cash in. They say the margins aren't there, but most of them are working on at least 40% margin. And 40% of 600-700 quid is a reasonable amount. And if you're selling numbers, you're making a lot of money.
Russia.
And in fact, when I get stuff sent through from some companies, I'm not going to mention any, but they have to put the value of the product on the box. And these are big companies, so they're not going to fudge the numbers just to try and screw the VAT or whatever. They put the cost prices on the boxes. So you know what they cost. It's got the prices on there. And then you see the retail prices and you're like, wow. They are making money. Lots of it. No matter what they say they are. Viali says, good evening.
Russia.
Where am I looking? What timestamp?
Oh, that's at 8:20, 8:30, wasn't it?
Oh God, I've moved on.
8:32.
8:32. Hey Firestorm, how you doing? And Tony the Runner. 8:32. Russia, remember when they told you the price increase on everything was temporary because of supply chain issues? Maybe the tech industry is just jumping on the... Yeah, probably. Well, that's the thing. They always say there's some issue, isn't there? There's always some excuse. It's like, well, and it's never anybody's fault. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, the tariffs, the exchange rate, the shipping containers, there's COVID, there's a ship stuck in the Suez Canal.
After drawing in the water.
There's labour shortages. There's always something in it. Oh, it's the wrong time of the year, or there's a volcano going off somewhere. There's always something, isn't there? John David Sullivan says, why did MSI pull out of AMD GPUs? That's a very good question. I have my own thoughts on it. I don't know for any reason other than the fact that it was NVIDIA basically twisted their arm a little bit. And the thing is, you can look at it, NVIDIA cards are selling like 80% of the market against 20%. So if you're a retailer or a manufacturer like MSI, EVGA have just pulled out of the game, so EVGA was kind of like the big boy. MSI have kind of taken over now that kind of role for EVGA, doing some mid-range, low-end and high-end cards. I would imagine NVIDIA would have turned around and said, look, we'll make it worth your while, but let's just drop the AMD stuff, shall we? And they probably thought, well, actually, they're only 20% of the market share for this, so yeah, why not? I think that's what it is. Just a simple economic thing that NVIDIA made it worth their while to not do it. I think it's a shame. I would love to be able to buy an AMD card made by MSI, but it's just the way it is. Yes, Kath?
Old Man Withers. I had a couple in the basket at launch, but Overclocker's site kept timing out. Tried again 3 hours later and managed to get one.
Wow, that's I don't know, yeah. At the original MSRP, at 570 quid. That's incredible if you did. Wow.
You gave up an hour early, babe. Well,
no, because by the time I gave up, the price had gone up. So I couldn't check out at the price I wanted it at. So that's why I'm a little bit like, how did that happen? It's very weird. I so many times I was there and I was posting screenshots of this on our Discord. It's like, oh, I'm in the checkout. It's asking me what I want to use as payment. You click on something, 504, timed out. It's like, oh, you bastard. Refresh, go back to the basket. Item still shown in the basket, try and check out. Over and over I tried that. Oh, man. Skystalker says, I managed to pick up a 9070 XT. Was sold out 10 minutes later. I'm glad you managed to get one. Mick Woods is in the house. How you doing, Mick? Says, hi all, watching at 1.5 speed at the moment. Missed the early start. That's right, it's just me ranting.
Now he's watching you rant in high pitch.
Yeah. Arnold G says, NVIDIA Mafia, EVGA style. I think it is. There's a lot of it, because NVIDIA, obviously, they hold a lot of the cards. Are they still like the most wealthy company or something, or in the top 3 or 4? So they got a lot of clout behind them. So if they turn around and say to a company, look, you can be our #1 guy, but you got to make some changes. There's going to be a lot of people, especially in the boardroom, be like, yes, this is very good for our shareholders. We can have a stronger relationship with that company, and they are the richest company on the planet. So looks like they're going to be getting richer with AI. So yeah, let's pledge our allegiance to their flag for the moment and see how things go.
837, David Underhill.
837. Trying to find it. David Underhill. Oh yeah, speaking of checkout problems, nephew tried your Windows 11 key site and the code didn't work.
Has he emailed them?
What, the discount code didn't work, or the actual license key didn't work? Normally, if you just message them either on their website or...
I just replied to the email with
if you just reply to the email that it came through on, just say the key didn't work. Normally, they'll send you another one like in minutes if there is a problem with it. But it's unusual. It's a very rare thing that happens, but it can happen. So my apologies. Lucky Man Fishing Adventures. How you doing, Lucky Man? Says, cheers, Mike. On the video for updating the BIOS on the Gigabyte 650 gaming motherboard. I've forgotten how to. No worries. That is why we make these. I'm pressing this escape again. I don't need to press it anymore. Yeah, that's why we do it. Mick Wood says, Virgin Media put price up by double inflation. Seems everyone is getting ripped off by these greedy corporations. That's the thing as well. And we're in a situation where, especially like in the subscription era that we seem to be finding ourselves in, it's more like companies just trying to rinse us all the time. And I think that is why, like, I like doing the stuff we do on the channel. Like, if we find a bargain or we find a discount, we try and steer away from these overpriced things. Like, the thing is, I could justify buying a 9070 XT at whatever price, because I could just put it down on the taxes like, I need one for do a review. Simple as. Doesn't matter how much it costs. I'll just use it as a tax write-off or a percentage write-off. So it's like, it doesn't make any difference how much it costs to me, realistically, but I'm not going to spend that sort of money, and I wouldn't suggest other people did either, because I think it's absolute nonsense. Anyway. W. Denton, how you doing? Says, hi Mob. How you do? Good to see you. Rasher says, my Gigabyte 9070 Ti is going to be a placeholder in my new build until the GPU FOMO craze subsides. FOMO is definitely a thing. And there is a super chat. Who's that from? Mick Woods. Mick Woods, 9.99. Thank you very much, Mick. Much appreciated. I'm glad you could join us. Good to see you. Even though we started early. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong camera again. Hello. I've got too many camera angles now. Got that one as well. And that one. Oh dear. Yeah, looking at Ruru's comments there. In 2024, AMD's gaming revenue, which includes Radeon products for PCs and chips for gaming consoles like the Sony PlayStation and the Xbox, was 2.6 billion. Their data center GPU is up to 5 billion. Yeah, that is the thing as well. We have to remember, like, yeah, I'm getting pissed off about it, and probably you are as well. The reality is the PC gaming market is important and is life-changing as it is to us. The thing is, in the real world, in the reality of things, like the PC gaming market is a very, very, very small slither of the overall pie in terms of global economics, just the marketplace in general. PC gaming, yes, for us it is everything, but it's a very, very small segment of the pie. So, yeah, we can get upset and stuff, but the reality is, well, the thing is, like Nvidia, they can basically charge whatever they want to for the AI chips because businesses need them, because the hype's been created. If you're a business, you have shareholders. If you're not seen to be following latest trends, shareholders get twitchy. They invest elsewhere because you're not moving with the times. So even, like, the thing is, even if there was like the world's stupidest idea, but it started getting traction and a company started doing it, their shareholders would be like, oh, this is getting some traction in the media. Seems like a good thing. Let's get behind it. Invest, invest, invest. Then other companies see that and they see the share price going up and they're like, well, what are they doing over there that we're not? They're like, oh, they got this crazy idea about such and such. Like, well, that's bloody stupid. Why on earth would you want to do that? I don't know. But we need to do it because they're doing it and their share price is going up. So then someone else starts doing it. The hype starts rolling and every company then eventually ends up getting involved with the stupid idea, regardless of what it is, purely because they have to satisfy the demand of the shareholders. They don't care if the customers actually want it or not. It's all to do with shareholders. So that is basically how AI was conceived. It went from being a really stupid idea, like having those Amazon Alexa devices in your Google Homes and all the home automation stuff, which still is bullshit. It doesn't work, or at least it does work in a very limited way. They will obviously try to put AI inside of those devices, and it will still be rubbish. You've probably all heard about AI hallucinations, where basically AI tells you lies, because they don't want to call it AI lying, because that's a bad thing. AI doesn't tell lies, it hallucinates. So when I do my tax return this year, I'm going to get AI to hallucinate how much I've earned, and I'm going to pay fuck all.
I identify as not earning anything.
I identify as not earning a fucking bean.
Can you look on your phone?
Sorry, there goes the language. I got to look on my phone apparently. Wow, there's a donation from the one and only legend that is Colin Hilton of 30 UK pounds. Thank you very much, Colin. Much appreciated. He's a lovely man.
I'm running out of hands.
Kath's running out of hands now. She's she's trying to hold on the cats because I said to Kath, don't let go of the cats because they'll sit on the box and I got to open that box in a minute. So we'll do that. Well, Bill says, I blame it on the globalists. Yeah, screw the globalists. They're idiots. Dutch Jan says, in my opinion, the worst thing that exists is shares. I totally agree. I totally agree. Shares are basically a means of generally wealthy people getting more wealthy at the expense of normal people. It's basically how it works. That's how business works. Hey, David Underhill, how you doing?
David Underhill, you've already answered about premium CD keys.
I know.
David's... Which, 839, he's replied to you about it.
I know. Let's have a look. 839. I'm not going to brush it under the carpet. Premium CD keys are bloody good, but sometimes they fall over. David Underhill says nothing worked. Spat the dummy trying to buy it. Oh, what? So it didn't let you purchase the key, or it didn't let you use the license? Didn't let you use the discount code. I'm not sure why that would be. Somebody said that there was something about, is it Stripe you use in Australia as a payment method? Somebody said there was issues with that this week. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But yeah, sorry to hear you've had that problem. User 457 says nothing to do with that. There's no money in pushing secondary SKU that has little share. I'm not sure what that was in relation to. Were you answering something I said, or? I'm not too sure what you're referring to there, but thank you for the comment. AMD is also getting rich doing AI GPU in data center. Yeah, exactly. They know where their bread is buttered. They know where the money is, because everyone's going, oh, AI is going to be the savior. AI is going to basically do, I feel personally, right, let's not get too bogged down in this. There are going to be instances where AI is going to be very useful for certain tasks. So for things like the medical industry, when they're trying to concoct new, I'm not going to say it, but when they concoct the new things that they want to shove in you, it's probably going to be easier to run your modeling through AI, although it may just hallucinate the data. So it's like asking a drunk person in the pub, what do you think the score is going to be in the football tomorrow? And you'll just get some wacky response. It might be accurate, you never know. So AI is basically just gambling. It's essentially roulette, give or take, just with lots and lots of tables and lots of potential outcomes. If you think about it, AI is basically what they use to actually do the weather. And when was the last time you had the weather report that was actually accurate? Even the day after, they can't get it right. I've said this many times, but it's very true. But yeah, AI can be good for a lot of things, but I don't think it's going to be helpful. And I think ultimately it's going to be putting quite a few people out of jobs, because they're going to have robots in warehouses picking stuff. So there's all your factory work basically gone to some extent. They'll also have AI cars, possibly things like trains, possibly trucks, vehicles.
Stack the shelves as well as unload the lorries. And
so
run it through the
AI is basically, we're basically paying or paving the way to be replaced. Super chat from Rasher. Thank you very much, Rasher, for your £20. If you think that your computer, laptop and phone spying you is scary, then think again, because your vacuum cleaner has been gathering dirt on you for years. That's good. I like that one.
Like leaves ours in the corner gathering dust.
Yeah, I do. I leave it in the corner. That is very good. Yeah, so AI is basically, like, for content creators, AI is, at the moment, it's not brilliant. So you see a lot of these AI videos and they're entertaining. And some of them are actually quite good. But, I mean, it's going to put a lot of people out of business. Look at people who are in graphic design or design work. AI is basically, yeah, ta-da! There will always be some sort of human intervention, but you think of junior level jobs at a design company, you're basically screwed. Entry level positions, art places, design, drawing, CAD, all that sort of stuff. If you're learning that at college now, I would probably switch to bricklaying or plumbing. At least you're always going to get a job with that. And they earn bloody good money. Become an electrician. If you're doing anything in the tech field which can be potentially replaced by AI, get out now while you can, because you're wasting your time. Yeah, thank you. Let's get rid of that. Mark Berry says red or black, a bit like traders on the stock market. It does seem, yeah. Nvidia in the black and AMD in the red. Just traditionally how their stock looks. Alex Scott, I just bought a Bywin X570, run crystal disc mark on it, and got the same results as you on the top line, but lower on the second line. Any idea why? Difficult to say. So what was it? The reads and the writes. So the write speeds are low. Not too sure. Not too sure why that would be. Could be something else going in the background. Windows Update, OneDrive, possibly. Ideally, when you're doing any sort of benchmarking on system disks or any disks on the system, try and close down as many background tasks as you can. Now, specifically when I do mine, I try not to, just to give you more real-world experience. But if you want the actual maximum possible that the drives are capable of, basically turn off all the services you possibly can. Or put the drive into a caddy of some sort, maybe. Hard to do on that drive, I suppose, because there's no Gen 5 caddies, but yeah, there's probably some background resources. If not, I don't think the drive would be faulty. Maybe it's thermal throttling. Make sure that your heatsink and all that is connected correctly. Didn't say how much different it was though. Was it much lower? There's another super chat from Mark Gaines. Mark Gaines, bless your heart, sent us £20 and says, Mike, is it possible to connect two Corsair iLink hubs together? I'm not sure about the IQ Link. I think you can have just one hub and daisy chain multiple devices. I don't know how much of a limit there is or how many devices is a maximum. I'll be honest with you, I'm not an expert on that. I don't really follow the Corsair stuff particularly closely. Arali is probably in the chat, so Arali might be able to answer that. Or alternatively, I will see what I can find out. I think if you get to a certain amount of devices, or you exceed a certain amount of devices, you can connect up an additional hub. But I think the idea with the hub is that you don't need to if your RGB is kind of within relatively normal levels. If you've got like a ridiculously massive case and tons of fans, then you might need to get another hub. But I'm pretty sure you can get away with just one for, I'm not sure off the top of my head, I'll be guessing completely, but I'm sure it's like 20 devices or something. But yeah, you might want to check that, or I can check it for you at a later date.
852 Ashley Strachan.
852 Ashley Strachan. Where are we saying? Is anyone running 4K monitors here? Is that what high-end GPUs are for? Yeah, I'm not too sure really. It's a very odd situation. It depends what you're doing with your PC. Most people, I think, realistically, are going to be 1080p or 1440p. Mostly, I would say 1440p seems to be pretty much the sweet spot, because you get a little bit image clarity better, a little bit more. Oh, sorry, again. You get a slightly better image than you would on a 1080p, but you don't have that massive performance hit that you do by going up to 4K. But if you're someone who does a lot of either design work or multiple kind of tabs open on Chrome in different size panes and what have you, then having a 4K monitor, you can get the better resolution, so it does work better. 4K for a lot of people, I think, is mostly down to kind of maybe video editors. I don't think there's going to be many gamers who are going to specifically go and buy a 4K monitor for gaming, because to get a decent one with a high enough refresh rate isn't cheap. And most graphics cards don't run 4K games particularly well, so you end up going from 1440p or 1080p up to 4K, only to then run your games at 1440p upscaled to 4K, because most graphics cards won't do it. So it's a little bit of a false economy. You're probably better off, if you just want a bigger screen, just get a bigger 1440p one. It's down to individual, but yeah, 1440p for me, I like using as my daily desktop, but for video editing work or for any screen capture work, I like to do 4K, because at least that way I can punch into it a bit as well if I need to zoom. Same with video. Filming 1080p video or 1440p video is so much nicer and easier to do than 4K video. But with 4K video, if you want to, you have got the ability to punch in quite a bit before you start getting a really horrible image. Whereas with 1080p or 1440p, as soon as you start punching in, the image just goes completely to shit. Fiali says, I have a 4K, but it's in the loft in its box. Dutch Jan says, you can have as many IQ Link hubs as you want. There you go. Des Duckers says, I have a 4K 240Hz MSI. Very nice. Is it OLED? Tell me it's OLED. Tell me it's QD OLED. I'll be very impressed then. I don't think they do a QD OLED 240Hz yet, do they? Maybe they do. I don't think they do. Maybe it's IPS. Chris Hartford says the new IQ stuff is far too pricey for me. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but it's kind of nice as well. Like, if you get into the Corsair ecosystem, you can make some really fantastic stuff, but it does limit you a little bit as well. That's the one of the things I do find. Like, I know some motherboards do work quite well with IQ, but generally, I think that's the problem with all of ARGB these days, that kind of, they all want to have their own little ecosystems, and they don't often work well with others, which I guess, again, is down to that kind of whole thing of, like, if you get somebody into your ecosystem, they will probably continue buying into your ecosystem. So yeah, you don't want to have cross compatibility because that makes it far too easy. Charles Ballard says, I've got a TCL 43-inch 4K television that I use primarily as my computer monitor. It's only 60 Hz, but at least it works on games and the movie image is magnificent. I was very seriously considering getting a 43-inch TV, like just a cheapo off Amazon, and using that as my normal monitor. Just mounting it on the wall so I can sit a little bit further back, but just having a nice big 4K screen. I think that would be quite nice. I think I would quite like that. Put it on a wall bracket, stick it in one of the alcoves there, get rid of my desk. Nice big fat 4K screen that I can actually read.
What about all the junk in your desk?
Yeah, all the junk in my desk will have to go into...
That's not in your magic
I just push it over to Kath's side of the room. Ah, dear. There you go. Tell us all about your monitors, everybody. What monitors have you got? I should do a poll, really.
Go get mine from upstairs.
Some of you may notice, actually, I've gone back to my my old monitor. I was going to throw this in the dustbin. Luckily, it didn't fit. I think that was whoever is upstairs and the little baby G-bus. That was their way of saying, Mike, don't do it. Don't throw it in the bin because you might need it again one day. And I did it. I put my well, it was a monitor that I got off of. No, actually, that's that one. There's these monitors that I've got. Lenovo L28U-30, and well, Welly Bob, he had a spare one which he wasn't using, so he sent me as well. I was going to do a dual monitor setup, but there's a really weird thing with those monitors that they've got a very weird, like, oversaturated red, and it's not like it's one of those oversaturated reds that you can dial in on the settings very easily. And I've been using it on here. And it's something to do with the contrast as well, just because I use this monitor when I'm filming videos. You've seen it in the background, and I see that to kind of see on a bigger screen what the camera sees, so I can make sure I get the shots right. And I was looking at it, it's like I can't see the shadows at all. It was terrible. I don't know what has gone on with it. So I've gone back to my old 1080p monitor, the old Acer 274HL or something, I think it is. It's a crappy old 1080p 27-inch 60 Hz monitor, but it's a VA panel and the colour accuracy is awesome. So yeah, I've gone back to it. I've got it in the hallway at the moment in the box. I don't know if to put it in the loft or to flog it or something. I don't know what to do with it. I'll probably flog it. Pete Unwin says, hello Kath and Mike. How you doing, Pete? Dave Aikens in the house. He's got his Asus 1440p 165 Hz. Was very high end in 2020 when I got it. Has aged fairly well. Would like a 4K soon as the text is so much clearer. my eyesight isn't that great, so I've got a bit of astigmatism in my left eye, so it focuses a little bit different. So if I push on the lens, my vision sharpens up dramatically. So rather than getting a new monitor, I can just hold my eye there, and it's like, wow, HD, HD. It's frustrating. It's an age thing, I think. A lot of blokes get it. Your left eye normally is not as good as your right. So people wear glasses, but I don't. John David Sullivan's got a Pixio PX277 Prime. Nice. That was the one that was on offer, wasn't it? Which was very highly rated. I remember seeing that. Nick Barnes has got his 55-inch OLED TV, but plays 4K 60Hz or 120 only 1080p. Son gave me Dell monitor for 1080p, 120Hz TA panel, I think. Good stuff. Skystalker says, hey Mike, question. Why would people not use a 43 or larger TV as a monitor besides refresh rates? Yeah, besides refresh rates, there's no reason to really, other than the fact that in the UK, we generally tend to have small houses or smallish houses, so it becomes a matter of practicality and scale. So if you've got a relatively smallish room, you don't want a hulking great 43-inch 4K telly on your little tiny desk for your computer. So it depends on the location. If you've got like a nice big room, then yeah, it makes a lot of sense to do so. And I guess there's going to be a lot of kind of kiddies, especially like in America and Canada, where you've got lots of room, and obviously other countries as well, where you have a lot of space or larger rooms. A big 43-inch TV for your Xbox or your PC is going to be a great idea because it's in scale with the rest of the room. But in a room like this, probably like a 32 inch is about the right sort of scale for the room, otherwise it looks a bit too big. Dan Marr says, I still have the AOC C27G2 you recommended. Yeah, that was really good. Rick says, seems like Mike has a sensitivity to red. I myself like vibrant colours. It's not so much the sensitivity to red, because I had it on my desk, and Dave Aitken, he's in the chat at the moment, he came round and I had, I think it's the CEX website up, and I was like, what do you think of that? And like he said, wow, that's red. And it was like super, super red. It was, I don't know, there was something about the intensity of the red. It just really pierced through the rest of the colours, and the rest of the colours seemed muted. It's a really weird thing. I sent one of them back to, because I bought one new, and I only had it for about a week, and it's like, no, I'm not having that. So I sent it back to LG. They sent a replacement, and I'm not sure if the one that Kath's got on her desk is the replacement or not. But even that one, the reds do look a little bit on the oversaturated side. And I know it's definitely that monitor, or those monitors that do it, because I've got about 7 or 8 different monitors here, and all of them, the same page looks normal. But those LGs, for some reason, whenever I go to CEX or any site that's got a lot of red on it, it just looks really oversaturated, and it's really hard to correct it. Even when I did the color tester comes out and says it's okay, but there is a little bit of a hump in the red bit, but it says it's color accurate. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Sorry, I have messages on my phone. Oh, I have a message from some. I bought a motherboard on eBay. Let's have a look, see what they're saying. Hopefully it's good news. I sent them, excuse me, I tried to do a couple of different bids or offers, and because I did those, where is it? Notifications. God, the new eBay app is awful. Where is messages now? Explore, fashion measures. No, I can't find anything on this. Decent, your watched items, sponsored, blah, blah, blah. I bet it's in my eBay. That would make sense.
Is it B650?
Yes.
Says.
Oh, there we go.
I got it.
I think so, yeah. Ahmed says...
Thank you for your order.
Hi, I only just saw your message and I noticed you bought the item at full price, so I've sent you back £9. Thank you for your order. Oh, bless. That's bloody kind, isn't it? Thank you. If it don't work though, I'll be pissed. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a weird thing. there was a motherboard which was listed, and it looks like it's in really good condition, but he's got a couple of other boards on there which have got absolutely mangled boards and pins. So I was like, that looks a bit iffy. But he's taken a picture of it, looks great. The board was on sale for, I think it was £102. Buy it now. So I don't really want to pay that much for the board. So I offered, I think it was 85, which I thought was very reasonable. And that wasn't accepted. So then I tried 89 or something, and he came back with a counter offer of 91. So I tried putting the counter offer of 90, but then after I thought, like, well, I'm getting free postage, so 91 quid's fine. But by the time I did that, I'd already pressed it, and I couldn't. It said, do you want to retract it? So yeah, I do. I want to put something else in. But then I retracted it, and it wouldn't let me put another figure in. So I messaged him saying, look, can you send me another link for the price you wanted, like 91 quid or whatever it was, and I'll just buy it. Sorry, my mistake. And that didn't happen, so I thought, well, I don't want to miss out on it, because it is actually quite a good price. So I paid the full 102 asking price, and bless him, he's sent me back the £9 extra. So that's pretty cool. But it better work. Even though I got a discount on it, it's still got to work. Viali says, so I have astigmatism in both eyes. Oh dear. Brant says, same here, Mike, I've got astigmatism in my left eye also. Yeah, it's a nose. It's basically your eyes, rather than being sort of circular, it's more like a rugby ball. So it's a weird shape. And if you press on your eyelid at the top or the bottom, you can normally make your focus much better. It's partly to do with the eye muscles as well. Like normally when you're younger, your eye muscles would compensate. But as you get older, your eye muscles get weaker, so it doesn't kind of squeeze your eyeball to make it focus, which is basically how you focus. You squeeze the muscles in your eye, squeezed. Anyway, you don't want to know about that. It's bullshit. just wear glasses or be healthy. Moving on. Our Portier says, I have two Iliama G Master G2770HS-B1, 27-inch Full HD, 180Hz IPS, and it's good enough for me. Awesome. Good stuff. Nick Barnes says eBay will be miffed as selling price affects the buyer's fee. Oh yeah, whatever. I'll sort it out one way or the other. I don't want to see the guy losing out or whatever. Rick says the sweet spot for me at desktop is 32 inches at 4K. Bigger, I have to sit too far back to be comfortable. Everyone is different. Yeah, at the moment I'm running 1440p on a 28-inch panel on my desktop, and I like that. That's a nice thing, but I do have my scaling set to 125%. So it's kind of the same as basically the scaling you get at 1080p for text, which is kind of what you think most people are used to 1080p text size, aren't they? At some level, because that's what you use the most. And I don't know, I find it, if I have it like 4K native without scaling, looks bloody awful. I can't really see it, so I always set 4K to 200%, just so it looks like what 1080p does. Anyway. What motherboard was it, by the way? It was a MSI B650 Gaming plus Wi-Fi, which I've had before, but going back to why we're doing some more streams during the week. So last week's video, we had the Antec C5 ARGB, which I think really was crying out for a white motherboard, or at least a white graphics card in there. And a couple of you have mentioned it over the week. It kind of worked out okay in the end, but I think it did really need a bit more white in there, just to kind of, yeah, just pop it a bit. So I thought, well, the Gaming Plus Wi-Fi from MSI has basically white heatsinks on a black motherboard. So that's going to give it a little bit more white, at least what is visible anyway. So I figured I'll get that, I'll swap out that motherboard, and I've also got another black case, which we'll be looking at shortly, the Antec C5 ARGB, which is a black case, which that gigabyte motherboard and possibly another graphics card are going to look flipping amazing in. So I'm going to do a little bit of a switcheroo on that one, and I'll probably take you along for the ride. So we'll take out basically everything in the C3, give or take, and then put it all in the C5, and then we'll rebuild the C3 with the white bits. And I'm tempted, I don't really want to, but I'm tempted to even get a little bit of spray paint and paint a graphics card up white, just so it looks better in there. I really know I shouldn't, because I think I'm going to mess it up, but I kind of want to, because white graphics cards are really expensive. Anyway.
Just do it with motion like you did your bike.
Yeah, I'll do it with undersail.
Oh, and that. That's hard.
Oh dear. Right, anyway, we should take a look at this this case, because we haven't yet. Now, I will say, although I am going to be slightly negative in some instances about this PC case, it in no way reflects to Colin Hilton, who very kindly provided it. It's not down to him, and it's not down to the retailer or anything. It's basically Antec. And it's my fault for being old, because I remember Antec as they were. And probably some of you do as well. I know there's some of you out there which we're a similar age, so if you've been in the PC gaming industry or gaming market like the late 90s, early 2000s, you'll remember classic cases from Antec. The P160, the 900 series, the LAN Boy, all of those cases, some of the first aluminium cases on the market as well. The Performance P160 was like amazing. Loved that case. Had a little dial on the front which you could rotate up and down. It told you temperatures of either the CPU stack, or you could put it on your graphics card, little thermal probes, USBs that you could rock up and down. It even had Firewire on it as well. It was just a really awesome case, and Antec were absolutely nailing it in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. There's some absolutely phenomenal cases, built like tanks, basically bomb-proof. Like the 900 series, if anyone's got a 900, you'll know what I'm talking about. Those 3 fans on the front with the little rotary control, so you could fine-tune your fans if you wanted to by hand. Great filtration, 200mm exhaust fan on the top to make your PC super cool. It was just like, this is, I don't know why they just don't do the 900 again, but put some cutouts for modern motherboards. It would be perfect. It was the perfect case then. It could be the perfect case now. They need to do it. Anyway, so yeah, if you were in that era and you remember Antec of old, the Antec company which are making cases now, I don't think are the same company at all. I don't think it's the same management. I don't think it's the same board. I honestly don't know what has gone on, because I'll just show you the case. Let's be real, and I'll show you the case, and you can make up your own minds. It's probably me being over, I don't know, yeah, just trying to reminisce too much. Anyway, so Antec C5 ARGB mid-tower case, as you can see, doesn't even have the nice packaging that Antec used to have. They used to have like nice glossy packaging. I know you don't buy a case for packaging, but it would be nice to see.
Do you buy them from a cat bed?
World's best cat bed. Yeah, it's a fish tank dual chamber case. You get the idea. Let me get the case out. I've actually got a blister. I'll show you my blister on my finger, just there. Hopefully you can see that. That was caused by this case. For the stupid fact that I spent the best part of an hour, maybe hour and a half, cable tying all of the fans. This comes included with 7 fans, and each one of them has got a PWM and an ARGB lead coming off of it. Now 7 fans and 14 wires makes wiring a little bit kind of, well, interesting, let's say. So I thought I'll cable tie it all up so it looks nice and tidy on camera when I'm filming it. I used the best part of 60 to 70 cable ties. Yes, you did hear that right. That wasn't 16 or 17. That was 60 to 70 cable ties.
You should have done it a bit better.
I should have done it, yeah. If I'd have done it better, well, because what I needed to do, I think I needed, well, I probably did it wrong anyway, but it made sense at the time. And that was, I wanted to have it so that every cable was basically its own cable. So I just cable tied down the whole length of the entire fan and RGB wire for each fan. Sorry about this. It's quite a small, compact case in reality. Yeah, this is the stumpy dump truck of PC cases. It's quite compact, but because it's quite fat as well at the same time.
I wasn't fat shaming it.
Kath was fat shaming the case. Right, so most of you can see that, can't you? Excellent stuff. So
60 to 70 cable ties. Jeez, how the other half live, eh?
60 to 70 cable ties, no word of a lie. I actually counted them as I put all the little bits in, because I thought I actually need to count how many I've done, because this seems like ridiculous. I'm going to take the side panel off. Now the first thing you'll notice, now this case isn't cheap. I think Colin spent somewhere around about 120 quid maybe. I've recently seen it on Amazon for 99. And I personally think it should be cheaper, but that's just me. Anyway, right, one of the first things you notice, this case basically has nothing about it that says Antec, other than there's a logo. So undo the screws, non-captive screws. This is a 2025 case, should have captive screws. Take off the glass side panel, 4mm thick, and it's got a bevel down this edge, so you don't need the structural support, which is kind of nice. So yeah, it doesn't have any thumb screws which are captive, which I think is a cheap thing to do. You're paying 100 quid for a case, you expect to have those kind of quality of life features. On the back of the case, as you can see already, there's ventilation. That's where your fans will be pulling air in through, and that is where you'll have ventilation for your power supply or potentially hard disk drives. So I'm going to take this panel off as well.
Is that glass thicker than normal?
No, it's normal 4mm thick. Some cheap cases go for 3mm, but 4mm is pretty much the norm these days. Let's take that away. So let's have a little tour of the case first of all before I start taking things apart too much. So to start with, obviously, dual chamber case. Now I like dual chamber cases. I think I've basically got a lot of time for them, because what you can do with a dual chamber case is you can have all of your nice pretty parts in the front section and have it all looking very nice and tidy. Well, that was a scratch. I thought there was a scratch in the, must be a cat or somewhere stuck. Yeah, pretty stuff on this side. So things like your coolers, your graphics card, basically everything that looks nice. All nicely illuminated. And then on the back, or rather in the back, you can have your power supply, you're going to have your hard drives, all of your cable mess, all that kind of stuff. So you can basically separate the two sections, hence why it's called a dual chamber case, or a fish tank style case. Much like a fish tank, if you've ever had one, you basically have all your pretty stuff on show at the front, and then all your filters and stuff you have either out the back or hidden away behind leaves and whatever. So hopefully someone understands what I mean. Let's have a look. Yeah, chat. Sure is a chunky boy for sure. The thing is as well, it's not actually that big. If I give you the measurements, I don't think that measure is going to be long enough. Yeah, it's about 17 inches long, she said. About 11 inches wide, which actually isn't that bad, because I think this one is about 10. So it's only about an inch wider than most kind of normal-ish cases. So yeah, about 11 inches deep. and in terms of height, about 16 inches tall. So yeah, 16 by 11 by 17 and a bit. So it's almost cube. Oh, hello, Maisie. Obviously, yeah, like I said, you get 7 included fans. Now, you'd think 7 included fans at a case of around about 100 quid is pretty awesome. But you'd also want those fans to be pretty good. Now, something about these fans, and I noticed it in the C3 as well, because it uses the same ones. These are Antec's P12 fans, so you can buy them individually as a retail product, or you get them, they're pretty much, I think all of their Constellation cases come with the P-Series fans. I think some of the other ones might as well. But yeah, P-Series fans, so P12 reverse blades. You've got 3 reverse blades on the bottom, and you've got 3 reverse blades on the side, so basically you've got 6 fans for intake. And then at the back, a single 120, which hopefully you can just about see there, which is basically the only exhaust. So the kind of theory is reverse blade fans don't move as much air as normal fans. It's just physics. So they have to work kind of against themselves almost to get anything out. So in terms of balancing fans, it's not quite as easy. So normally on a case you think, right, 3 intake, 3 exhaust, because the fans are basically the same. But with these, they're not. So if you take into account, a lot of people are going to probably end up putting a 360mm radiator in the top of the case. That's a very common thing to be putting into this style of case, and basically any case really. But yeah, so 360mm in the top, plus your exhaust in the back. So you've got 4 fans effectively exhausting, and then you've got 6 fans intaking. Now these are probably about roughly about 75 to 80% of the efficiency of the other fans. So if you've got 6 of them versus 4, it's kind of be slightly positively pressurized. Not much, but slightly positively pressurized, which is a good thing. That's what you want. So it's not ridiculously unbalanced in terms of the airflow characteristics, just a slightly different way of doing it. What am I going to say? So support for motherboards with BTF, so Back to the Future, Project Zero, stealth boards, basically the rear connect. You've got all the cutouts available for that. It takes ATX, micro ATX, ITX, etc. Another thing which I would have liked to have seen, which they haven't got on here, which isn't a big deal, but something which I do like to see, especially on more expensive cases, premium cases, is the central pillar being slightly raised, or like a nub, so it locates your motherboard on it. This is just a normal screw like the others, so it isn't the end of the world, but it would have been nice to have seen it. Clearance at the top, you've got loads of clearance, and actually I don't think I measured it before, but I think it's about, oh, that is going to be too big. Let's get a smaller one. I think the clearance on top is about 60mm. So yeah, 65mm between the top of the case and the motherboard. So if you want to put in your radiator and also fans, you're still going to have nice easy access to all of the connections at the top of your motherboard, like your EPS, your fan connections, CPU fan connection, ARGB headers, all that kind of stuff. Or even if you just want to take out the board, you don't have to take out all of your cooling equipment in order to get access to the motherboard, so that's kind of nice. And also at the bottom there's a little bit of overhang and a bit of a gap between where the fans are and the motherboard tray, so getting things in like your USB front panel connector, your HD audio, USB-Cs, all that kind of stuff. Loads of room there, no problems at all with that, absolutely cool. No rubber grommets at all, not a single solitary one anywhere in sight, which I guess again isn't the end of the world. They have done something nice though, they have made it so that the actual section here for putting your cables through, they've got it like a 90-degree cutout. So if you've got a motherboard where things are coming out sideways or whatever, yeah, just a nice easy way of cable managing. Unfortunately, if you go for the white version, because there's no grommets, it's going to shut like a sore thumb, any cables or any gaps there. So a little bit more forgiving on the black case, not so much on the white one.
How tall are the feet?
On the bottom, the feet are about 18mm. So 18mm, that is about 5/8 of an inch, is it, roughly? I'm not very good at the conversions, but it looks like about 5/8. It's not marked up on there. So yeah, they're not the biggest of feet, but it shouldn't be too bad for getting airflow underneath. There is a problem with the airflow, which we'll discuss shortly when we have a look underneath. But overall, inside, for this section, there's a few little things. Yeah, no rubber grommets, no locating lug. Other than that, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I've got no real complaints there. One thing I do dislike, moving around to the side actually. So, like I said, you've got no captive thumb screws, that's a pain. You haven't even got a captive thumb screw for the IO shield. And also, grab a screwdriver. I do like to have reasonably easy access to this. So, yeah, just a simple screw holding that in place, and it doesn't even like lock in or anything, so it just falls off. And if you take out a couple of these, you'll notice something which for some people is going to be a little bit of an issue straight away. And that is the fact that it's nice, they are removable. So you can take them out, and they're nice ventilated ones, hexagonal mesh, which I always like. But you got these bars. So vertical GPU mount is going to be very, very hard, if not impossible. So if you're looking at a fish tank case and thinking, actually, yeah, I really want to vertically mount my GPU because that is what the cool kids are doing, don't. It's not going to happen. And also, because of the fact that the vertical GPU mount, if you could get one, like a universal one, you've actually got nowhere to mount it on the bottom, because obviously you've got the fans on the bottom. So wherever you put a bracket is going to be blocking off a large majority of your airflow. I just put a screw in without putting an IO cover in. That's what happens when you're concentrating on the camera and not concentrating on what you're actually doing. They call that autopilot. Well, it was on autopilot then, Cav. It just happened. Rubbish. Right, done it properly now. So yeah, vertical mounting is going to be nigh on impossible. Potentially you could do it, but really...
Looks a big hole behind M board. Is BTF motherboards only ATX?
No, BTF boards are micro ATX and ATX. You can get it in both. That's why you got the extra holes there in various places. Although I think this one only supports... yeah, this only support... Actually... Yeah, I don't know if this would support back connects micro ATX or not. I think it's only ATX. There's lots of holes anyway. So, yeah, that bit is all a little bit on the cheap side. You've got a little bit of adjustment on the fan at the back, so about ½ an inch or so to move it up and down, which is kind of pointless. Might as well not bother. Just have a static fan. All the ventilation's good. Hexagon mesh, blah, blah, blah. All good, all good. On the back was where it gets a little bit more interesting and also a little bit more, yeah, of a nightmare. So, I've already said you've got 7 included fans here, which is great if they were good fans, but they're not brilliant. They're a bit noisy, and they click as well. If you have them on to a low setting, they start clicking. And I couldn't work out where the clicking was coming from until I was doing some stuff in here when I was filming. So where the fuck is that coming from? And I realised it was the fans in here. Turn them all off, silence. So if you're one of those people like me who is very sensitive to either red on your monitor or ticking fans, then this is probably not going to be ideal for you. I like a PC to be quiet, like that one there. Can't hear it. Absolutely silent, even on the lowest settings. So what that means normally is if your PWM controller in your fan is cheap, you'll get clicking because it's not handling the PWM signals correctly. It's a very common thing. Cheap fans, poor PWM signal, noisy. Even with all the cable ties, this still ended up being somewhat of a mess. Now, one of these cables is the reset switch, and it even says reset switch on there. So yeah, there is a thing that says reset switch on it, which plugs into the RGB controller. Now again, that isn't really a problem, but it's just another one of those signs of something being cheap, because rather than taking the time to actually manufacture it and put RGB switch or RGB or ARGB on there, they've not bothered. It just says reset switch. It's cost cutting. My firm belief is this case isn't actually even made by Antec. I think this case is probably made by somebody else, maybe like an ODM, like your John's Bows, that type of thing, and Antec had just put their badge on it, which is where the kind of the original thought from the video thumbnail comes from, that it doesn't feel like an Antec case. You could literally, if you put any brand at all, just put their badge on there, you wouldn't know. But you try saying that about the Antec of old. You try getting an Antec old case and putting another brand badge on there. You'd be like, that's not a bloody whatever brand. That's an Antec. Because you know what it looks like. Whereas this is, what's the word they say when you go to the high street and they all look the same? Not globalized, homogenized, is it, or something? No, that's something else altogether, I think. I don't know. There's a word for basically where everything just looks the same. And it kind of is with this. Anyway, cable management wise, so you can see here what I've done is I don't know, yeah, kind of, I suppose, yeah. All of these cables I've cable tied up, so it was an actual worse mess than this. This is actually complete, this is tidy, effectively. I'm trying to think which ones to unplug, so yeah, there's a cable going to the front as well. Actually, let's take that off while I do this. So you can take off the front panel. This comes off relatively easily. Yeah, kind of generic. Yeah. So there you go. You can take that front panel off in its entirety, and there's actually an RGB strip inside the glass there. So you get like this umbilical cable which you run through. And actually, in fairness to Antec or whoever made this, it is like really strong. It's very hard to bend that. I'm actually gonna feel my core tense in there. It doesn't want to move. There's a bit of flex because it's on a mouse mat, but other than that, yeah, it's rock solid in terms of this top section. But the other metals, like, let me see if I can get it on the overhead. So on the overhead, you can see that? See all that flexing? You probably can't see it very well from there, can you? Yeah, it's a bit hard to show from that angle, but yeah, it does flex around like a good one at times in certain places. So, like motherboard tray, yeah, there. There's not really a great deal supporting it there, but yeah, that's flexing around like crazy. Anyway, yeah, front panel, that's pretty cool, the fact that you can disconnect that. Although, again, a little bit of a cheap out. Cases from other manufacturers, maybe like Fantex possibly, used to have those little metal pins. So when you put the side panels on, it makes an electrical connection and everything is all good. So again, it's like little things like that which are no way the end of the world at all. But if this is supposed to be Antec making a comeback and being on top of their game, it just doesn't feel like it.
So this case is 120 quid or 240 Canadian dollars?
Possibly.
It should be maybe 80 quid.
Yeah. That's kind of the takeaway, yeah. You're not far off the truth there. What else can I was going to show you? Right, the hub has got an 8-way hub. Now, yeah, this is again another one of those things, right? ARGB hubs. So ARGB hubs normally are designed for expansion. That's why you'd buy a PWM hub or an ARGB hub, because you want to expand. In this case, as standard, it comes with 7 fans, as we've already said.
Always need food.
The PWM hub has 8 ports. If you take into the fact there's also the additional ARGB on the front for the lighting, that means out of the box, every single one of your ARGB ports is used already. So it's a hub for them, but not for you. You've also got one PWM hub one PWM outlet left. Now you probably don't want more than 7 fans on a single hub. I kind of get that. But maybe they could have thought a little bit ahead and thinking, well, being that this is a DIY case, it's headed towards the DIY market, it's a fish tank style case, so it's a strong chance that if someone's buying a fish tank style case with a lot of RGB in it already, there's a pretty strong chance that someone's going to want to add a little bit more RGB to it. I think that's a reasonable thing to assume. You probably won't want to add any more case fans because there's enough. But I think they should have put at least a 10-port hub in there. Maybe more. It ain't that much more expensive, and it is actually like a little PCB which is screwed to the bottom, which you can take out. So adding another 2 ports or even another 4 ports for each, I don't think would have been totally unreasonable, and probably still would have been within the power envelope for SATA. But yeah, again, it's not very forward thinking and it's not very customer focused. It's like, how can we make this case look nice and do it as cheaply as possible? That's how it feels to me, which the Antec of old wasn't like that. Even if they had a case full of fans, it would have spurs on it, so you could add more fans or daisy chain more fans or add in more stuff. This is very much, yeah, build it to a price, and hopefully we'll sell a boatload of them, which they probably have done, to be fair. It does have a pass-through connector, so that goes to your motherboard, so ARGB and PWM. Plug those into your motherboard, job's a good one on that one. So that's absolutely fine, what you'd expect. You've got a very short SATA plug. Now, bearing in mind your power supply is going to be there anyway, so it's not really that bad a thing, and it's less cable to manage, but even still, with all this stuff cable tied up, it's still a little bit of a rat's nest going on there. So this section here as well, with this part here, is designed so you can put 2 SATA drives on here, so 2 2.5-inch drives, or a 3.5-inch drive on the back, so you've got the mounting rails there, so 3.5-inch in the back, another 2 on there. I think that's going to get really crowded very quickly. Personally, I think it will do. Also, the fan on the back, I've plugged the fan in the back on the very end connectors, and even so, you can't route the cable round in a sufficient way that the power supply doesn't crimp it, which again is a little bit of a daft thing. Like, why? Part of the reason for it, well, not really, but the way that the cable's routed, you could probably take it underneath, which actually I might do, because that was annoying me from the get-go. Oh, I can't believe I said get-go. That's such an Americanism. No offense to our American viewers. But I'm a British person. So if I take that through there, that's going to give us a little bit more of a fighting chance to go around the power supply, or at least over the top of it, and then round. I'm not sure if I can got the room there, but yeah, I just need to find a way of making that not... Maybe I took it over to that side. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is the cables aren't long enough for the fans. In most of the instances they are, because they're on the bottom and the sides, but the furthest one away, and there's no real adjustment on there, maybe a couple of millimeters. It's just not very well thought out. Again, these fans are pretty cheap fans, so here's what it is. You could, if you wanted to, go to the hassle of getting ARGB extensions or PWM extensions, and then you could run the cable kind of wherever you want to. But why should you? You're spending like 100 quid plus on a case. It should come ready to go. It was all wired up actually, ready to go out of the box, but I couldn't put the power supply in because all the cables are in the way. So hence why I started doing cable tie and cable management pretty much immediately as soon as I got it. It's funny actually, when Colin brought it down, I quickly unboxed it to have a look inside and had a quick thing. It's like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I love this. Fish tank style cases, they're great. And had a quick look around and I said, I don't think there's going to be any problems with this at all. It looks like this is the real deal. And I think Colin said immediately, oh, they got some Fisher Price cabling going on there, because the HD audio, the plug on there, has an absolute ton of multicolored nonsense going on. Now obviously that isn't going to be a problem, because generally it's going to be in the back if you're a BTF board. If you got it in the front, you're going to see that a bit, like a bit of Sharpie on there is going to be fine. But again, 100 quid case. We've seen cheaper cases that didn't have any ketchup and mustard wiring, they just have blacked out cables. So it's not like it can't be done, and it's not like it can't be done at a price, because it doesn't cost that much extra. All the rest of the cables are blacked out, so again, it's just a little bit of a thing which has been, I feel, a little bit overlooked. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I'm trying not to be too negative of this, but I'm also looking at it at the point of like from a consumer, because ultimately this, you guys are going to be the ones that are going to be buying this. And also, why not have a pass-through or like a daisy chain on these, so you could just piggyback off one or two of these. Excuse me. These don't really like going on here as well. Come on. Right, whilst I'm trying to faff around with that, I'll see. Viali says it should have two powered hubs, one at the top, one at the bottom. Yeah, that's a good idea. Zero Defect says it does not seem good value, can get a fractal torrent for less with amazing fans and build quality. Ketchup cabling. Rick says I get violently ill with ketchup cabling. I brought popcorn, says PC 2022. Ashley Strachan says I used tape on my Montec. My eyes rolled hard when I saw the mustard. Yeah. Greg says, thing is, these shortcomings are fine if the case was cheaper, but not having grommets, geez. User 457 says $99.99 on sale. Dutch Jan says, are you sure you want my opinion? Yeah, sure, go for it. That's what we're here for. This isn't a dictatorship. You say whatever you feel. You might be wrong. But, you know, say whatever you feel. It's absolutely fine. I'm going to have to move some of these. Now, stupidly, having cable tied these, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Because that is going to be that's going to annoy the crap out of me now. Yeah, the front cable is a little bit too short to wire how I want it to. And these plugs don't fit in very nicely. Like, let's be fair. ARGB plugs are not the easiest of ones to work with anyway, but these ones seem to be particularly obnoxious. Let's see if I can move that down there. I can move that one a long one. Might even be nice to have numbers on the hub or on the ports. And that is also another thing as well. When you have all your fans on the hub like this, it means they're all going to be sharing the same RPM data. Now obviously the reverse blade fans aren't going to have the same RPM data as the back one. So you're probably going to want to disconnect that anyway and connect it up somewhere else. Right, yeah, that's better now. That's not getting in the way so much. There's nowhere to cable tie down the cable either. Which is, yeah, a little bit of a nose. So yeah, overall, it's kind of, it's a nice case. I like the look of it. I think I said this with the C3 as well. I do genuinely like the look of it. And if I'll get a power supply in a minute so you can see what the fans are like. And I'll see if I can replicate the noise, because I really want you to hear it. Because for some people, it's going to be super annoying. But for other people, you'd be like, I can't hear a thing. In which case, it's all good. Where is my cable? Kettle lead to the rescue. I was trying to do something else yesterday. I can't think what it was. What was I doing? Oh, I was looking for an extension USB 3 cable. A USB 3 cable that goes from A to B. Those are actually quite hard to come by. And I knew I had one somewhere. I went through all of the cables in the box and eventually got it. Question, Mike, are you going to flip this as a budget build? I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with it. I was tempted to use it myself, but I don't know if some of the shortcomings of it would be just a little bit too much. So yeah, I'm not sure at the moment, if I'm honest. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just going to rig up a power supply a minute, just so we can test the fans. I've actually got a Noctua fan controller, just a really basic SATA controller, but this one has complete control of the PWM ranges. So you can set the fans to basically exactly whatever you want to. Which is good for fan testing, at least for noise levels anyway. And here we go, let's flip the switch. Oh, tell you what, if I plug in the hub as well, that'll make life even better. Visually anyway. So there we go, there it is lit up. You can see what the fans and stuff look like. Okay. And for those of you that are wondering, Mike, what do they sound like when they're on full blast? Well, let's let it rip. Not too bad. I think they've got an RPM up to about maybe 1700 RPM. But because they're reverse blades, they're inherently noisy, or noisier. So now you would think by this noise that they would be moving a lot of air. You'd be wrong. It's hardly moving anything. Let me find something. Right, blue roll. We know what the sort of weight of blue roll is like. So it's moving it a bit. But it's not like an absolute torrent of air. But it's moving a bit. Now, the bottom fans are basically doing almost nothing. And the reason for that is because they've done what they usually do. They've, rather than put in the nice mesh, nice nylon mesh filters, they've gone for one of those crappy magnetic ones, which actually now that the fans are on, I can't even remove. Or am I just being stupid? Oh, there we go. Right, yeah, it's got one of those filters on the bottom. Now, when you've got hexagonal mesh filters, or the kind of hexagonal mesh anywhere, it's really good for airflow. But as soon as you put another filter over the top like this, you're basically cutting down the airflow to like a third, maybe less. So this, as I always say, these basically throw in the bin. They're absolutely pointless. Now with that out, that should improve the noise levels ever so slightly. And now they're moving an absolute ton of air. The whole thing is like pushing out a bunch of it. So I'll put this down. You see, that is not even, yeah. Considering this is open, that is moving a lot more air now than it was before, by a significant amount. You can hear it and also you can feel it as well. Yeah, there's like a blast of air coming out through there now. So yeah, filter on the bottom, throw it in the bin, it's absolutely pointless. As I've said before with these many times. Now, I'm going to set this down to the lowest possible setting, and I'm going to take the microphone, and what I want to do is I'll put the microphone right next to the fans and let me see if you can hear the ticking, because to me, yeah, on this angle it's not too bad. Yeah, this side is horrible. So I'll put the microphone right next to the fans now. I'll be quiet for a little bit, and I'll wave or something when I'm going to talk again. So if you want to turn up your own speakers to hear it, feel free to do so. I'm going to hold it there for about 10-20 seconds. Then I'll wave. That's your warning to turn your speakers down, okay? Are you with me? Okay, there we go. So, I'm not sure how well that's come across on the microphone. It's a very difficult thing to capture. I can feel it. If you put your hand on the metal next to these 3 fans on the side, you can almost feel the roughness. There's like a very, very minute vibration going through the chassis, where the fans must be getting to a PWM part where they're kind of, there's like a micro stutter of the fan. I think that's where the click's coming from. If you turn it up slightly, yeah, that's the trouble. You can't get to a point where you can turn it up so that it removes the click but also doesn't make the fans noisy. Because they're moving, now they're moving a reasonable amount of air, but that's only about, that's not even 50%. That's 100%, so 50% would be just there. And they're quite, I wouldn't say they're noisy, but you can hear the airflow. And the reverse blade fans are like notorious for that, where they just make a ton of noise. And in fact, actually, if I disconnect all of them except this one here, I'm going to regret doing this. Yeah, there's a very, very slight tick to it, but hardly anything at all. And it's basically silent. If I turn it up, like on full blast, that's a much nicer noise profile because of the way the blades are facing. Reverse blades just sound awful. And they don't move as much air, so they're kind of pointless in my opinion. Let's turn it down to 50%, which is what most people normally have their fans set to. And yeah, basically silent. I'm moving a reasonable amount of air. Yeah, it's a shame those fans. There's something with the design of them. I don't get what it is, but yeah, it's a very strange scenario. Excuse me. Right, let's unplug those. Don't need that on anymore. I'm gonna get that.
Where is the letter?
Good question. I have no idea. I'll never forgive Noctua for making this fan controller with basically a female fan thing that you'd find on a motherboard as being the bit that goes into there to power it. It's really confusing because you think, oh, which way round does this all bloody thing go? Okay. That's another story. I do like complaining. Kath will vouch for that. She is, to be fair. There's a lot to moan about in this modern world. Right, on the bottom.
I don't like it.
3 fans, hexagonal mesh, we've seen that before. Yeah, the front panel comes off pretty easily. That's all pretty good. On the top, you've got nice, reasonable I/O. Power button, RGB button. So that syncs your RGB. You've also got power LED, hard drive LED. USBs, although they're color-coded black, they're not. They're USB 3.0s. Separate mic and headphone jack, and you've got the Type-C port at the end there. So USB 3x2. Sorry, USB 3 Gen 2, not times 2, Gen 2. So 10 gigabit per second, and those two are 5 gigabit per second. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Viali says I/O on the top, rubbish, rubbish. Right, I'm going to stuff all this back in here. So, what are your thoughts on this case? I would say if you had this case and it had maybe a Sahara Gaming or a Techwear logo or you know, those types of companies, the companies which kind of don't make their own Game Max, it's that sort of case for sure. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen this case in a Game Max style. The front panel may have some slight differences, but the kind of the build and the overall thing, excuse me, it just feels like it's Antec doing what modern Antec do. Not really innovating, not really taking things to the next level, but just making a case which is kind of better than they made previously in the kind of mid 2000s, the 2010s and stuff, where they basically put out a load of absolute crap, real crap, like proper crap. They didn't make any of their own cases. It was all like John's Bow stuff all the way, and it showed. And a lot of people were like, what the f is this? Like, it's got an Antec badge on it, but this ain't an Antec case. And I feel that, to be fair, it's better. It's getting better. They're finding their way. But after seeing multiple reviews of this case from various different YouTube influencers, let's say, I don't think that any of them have picked up on any of the things I've said. They've all been rather gushing about it. Now, whether that's down to the fact that they just love seeing Antec back in the market, I honestly don't know. But it just seems that there's, I don't know, a lot of it seems a little bit disingenuous. Anyway, yes, Kath?
User 457, is it not like the Sahara Gaming one?
It does, yeah. It does feel like that sort of thing. Like I said earlier on, if you were to put a different manufacturer's badge on this case, you wouldn't know. No one would know. You could, in the fact that they've only got Antec there in the glass, which is on a sticker basically, and I think that is the only place that there is an Antec logo. And normally that's the thing, like if a company has just a logo on a piece of glass or a front panel, and it's just a sticker or embossed or whatever, then there's a strong chance that the company either didn't make it or it was made for them, and it's just another mass-produced case. It says they're made in China, so that doesn't really give you any kind of inclination where it's come from. But yeah, other than the fact that the front panel has a very slight kind of angle there, but again, this is just a front panel which pops on and off. You go to case manufacturers, ODMs, you give them they give you like a chassis, and they say, well, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to keep it as is? What do you want to make any modifications? You ask for modifications, they tell you how much it's going to be, then you decide if you're going to do them or not. This has got nothing about it which actually says that it's an Antec case. It doesn't feel like an Antec case. It's other than the fact that the fans are from Antec inside, I don't know, it just feels a little bit cheap. I'm trying to work out what that serial number is there, because it says MC C5 ARGB and it's got a serial number. I think that is probably one of Antec's own badges, but I would love to know who makes this, because I honestly don't think it's Antec, or at least if it is, I wouldn't say it's disappointing, because modern cases are modern cases and they have their flaws. I think with this, if I was to kind of summarize it in any real way, I would say that the case itself, yes, it looks very nice, and based on looks alone, and it's slightly more reduced price now at around about £99, I still think it's a little bit much. I think they're still playing on the branding a bit, the Antec name. I would say if I was to buy this myself personally, it would have to be £79.99 or thereabouts for me personally to pull money out of my own wallet and buy it. If it was much more than that, I don't know, I would have to strongly consider the alternatives on the market, of which there are many. And with there being kind of deals on every now and then, it's really difficult to kind of summarize it really. Ultimately, it's going to come down to pricing. If it's cheaper where you are, then obviously it's going to have more value. The fact that it comes with the included 7 fans is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing for PC builders because it's like, right, that's done, move on. But the fact that they're relatively cheap fans and a little bit on the noisy side, they look nice. The RGB effects are excellent, and the built-in controller, you can press the button on the top and cycle through the colours. So if you've got an old crappy motherboard with no ARGB, it ain't the end of the world. But yeah, I just feel that, I don't know.
The price of competitors.
I'm trying to think of a competitor which has done the same sort of case, but done it well. And I'm actually struggling with that a little bit because, yeah, I don't think there are. The closest I've come to this, well, no, I don't know. It's nice because you can put a 360mm radiator in the top, you can put a 360mm rad in the bottom, and you can put up to a 280 in the side. Which, that in itself is quite an accomplishment for a relatively compact fish tank style case. But yeah, I cannot think off the top of my head of another brand which have done this design at a similar or lower price. Not for any other reason that I haven't really been looking that hard. No doubt there are going to be some. I'd imagine if I went onto AliExpress and did a search for fish tank style or dual chamber PC case, there will be hundreds if not thousands of different options, all at varying prices. But yeah, I would it's like the old school thing when you go and get your report card at the end of the year. It's like disappointing, could try harder. And I think that is ultimately where this case is. For the 120 quid that it has been on sale for, or more, I think it's a little bit of a concern at that price. And you'd have to look at other options, Fractal Torrent, many others. Maybe even some of the height cases, maybe. They kind of do this, but do it a little bit on the better side. Even things like if it's reduced, something like the TechWare VXR, that was always a nice one. And TechWare have done some new versions, which are probably even similar to this. It might even be the same fans, just with the fans with a different name on them. I would wish that they would do this case without the fans and without the controller. The fans are worth, I would argue, £5 each, maybe, retail. I know they sell for more, they're about £10–15. But if you say 40 quid for the fans on the hub, take it off the price of the case, that makes this about 60–70 quid. In which case, for 60–70 quid, yeah, I can probably get behind that. Then you can put your own fans in. But if you're not susceptible to the ticking noise, or you're someone who plays PC games and you've got your headphones on, then it isn't going to make a blind bit of difference to you at all. Or even if you've got hearing issues, this case is going to be great. But for me, in my individual circumstance, where normally my PC's on pretty much most of the day, it's going to be either behind me or to the side of me, any little noises like that, just eventually over time, just really great. Which is why I tend to spend a little bit more money on fans where I can. But yeah, it's a hard one. I don't want to be overly negative, but there's so many tiny little points on this which stop it from being a perfect case. Which I guess is one of those things. Ultimately, the perfect case doesn't exist, and the search for the perfect case will continue to go on. And I really wanted this to be better. Now, it's better than the C3, I will say that, but how much better is hard to put a number on, or put a thing on, because the C3 in itself does some good things, and is also a little bit smaller and a little bit cheaper. So I guess that comes down to it a bit as well. Antec XT View at 85 quid plus delivery at overclockers. May not be the BTF. Okay, fair enough. Might check out Antec's Performance M1M. I may well do. Corsair tried and failed with the fish tank style. Yeah, they did. Corsair are getting worse. Bendy Ink Machine Fan says Montec made a similar case. Okay. Thermaltake View 380 is probably a better choice at $100. Yeah, actually, the View 380 is probably... The View 270 and the View 380 probably... The 380 is quite nice. It has similar issues with it, though. And the fans on that weren't particularly great, but they were better. But you only got 4 of them, I think. 3 intake and 1 exhaust, if I remember rightly, on the... yeah, the 380. Yeah, the View 380, yeah. Actually, yeah, the View 380, now I'm thinking about it, because I've actually got that upstairs in the bedroom. And, yeah, the View 380 basically does almost exactly the same as this, but this is better because it's got hexagon mesh, which is better for airflow. That was one of the things I didn't like about the 380, is the fact that it was a little bit more closed. All the ventilation panels and stuff were all the holes rather than the mesh, hexagon mesh. Yeah, if you combined this with the Thermaltake 380, the View 380, you'd have basically the perfect case. So only include 4 fans, because you don't really want all the other ones anyway. And, yeah, better mesh. If only we could do that. If only we could take the best bits of some cases and put them with others. And I think actually the View 380 is a little bit narrower as well. This will take up to 160mm CPU cooler, 410mm graphics card, although realistically probably more than that. And the power supply up to 240mm including cables, for those that are wondering. So I think that is pretty much it for that case.
Right, you ready?
Yeah, hang on. Kath's not caught all the questions, so hang on a second.
Got any questions, put them in again.
Yeah, if you've got a question and I haven't answered it yet, now is your time. So I'm going to quickly put this case away, and then we're going to take a look at another bargain whilst I'm answering the questions.
Like, you could keep quiet and show a bargain without talking.
I could.
Can read.
Can read.
Right, so 951, then you need
951. Can you read it out? Alright.
No, I can't. I'm drinking.
She's on the case.
Alright.
Nice packaging in this case, by the way.
I have an update on the Bi-Win memory.
Ah, right, yep.
I purchased it. It has been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, excellent.
There's no issue at all, even with AMD Expo enabled in the BIOS.
Good, good, good. We like to hear that. I'm actually waiting for Bi-Win, see if they're going to send me any RAM to use in the systems, but not heard anything as of yet, but we will see. But glad to hear that you got on well with it. It's always nice to hear. There's nothing worse than working on videos for a company or any company and then having negative feedback. That is something which we all dread. Sorry, headphone users. You're amazing. There's your bed.
Havish?
Havish?
Yeah, is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Hey Mike.
Hey.
Can you review the Acer E-Machines U320C?
The Acer E-Machines. Guys, that's a brand I haven't heard in a long time. Kath will write it down and I'll see what we can find. Christ, Acer E-Machine. I think the last E-Machine I had was the, was it the Nevo or Revo? It was like a little thing on a little stand, little square thing, like a mini PC that had the NVIDIA, I'm trying to think of the graphics in. It's like it was a 4-core Atom chip, and it had some sort of Atom graphics in. The Revo 3610, I think it was. God. I bought about 10 of those. We used to use them at the BBC and I used them, put them on the desks to run all the graphics on. They were great.
Oh, those?
Yeah, remember those little tiny squarish things? No, before that.
Oh, I don't know. W. Denton. Mike, check out Antec's Performance 1M.
Okay, write it down. I might well do that. Greg says that Antec case is 170 Canadian rupees. Ooh, for the black version. Okay. Bendy says, did Mike eat the pancakes the other day? No, Mike didn't have any pancakes at all. Angel and Kath ate all of them.
I need to get a bit bigger.
Nick Byron says, what about the Thermaltake CTE E500 TG case? That isn't quite nice, but it's much bigger and much more expensive. Or at least it was. I don't like the E550. I don't like the graphics card setup, the mounting of it. And I actually don't really like the CTE format, like the rotated thing. I've said it all along, I've never strayed away from that. That some of the cases it was okay and it made some sense, but the whole CTE thermal efficiency thing, whilst yes, it does work and it does appear to be beneficial, I hate the look of it. I absolutely hate the look of it.
Lord O's put Deepcool CG530 is similar for €69.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw that somewhere. Could I write that one down as well? Please? Thank you. Kath's going to write that one down. I might get that one in. The Deepcool one, because I did see that actually.
In where?
I saw it on... I get it in here. I saw it on Amazon, I'm sure I did. Did I see it on Amazon or was it...
Might get that. You don't need to say in here.
Might get that in here. Glass on 3 sides. Yeah, that was a bit weird.
So...
Okay. Yeah, Deepcool CG530. That looks awesome. Let me have a look. Deepcool CG530, is it? Yeah. Yeah, actually, the CG530. Yeah, the Deepcool CG530 is the same case. That is the same design. I'm sure of it. Yeah, the cutouts are the same. Right, let me get it on the screen so you guys can actually see it. And girls, and those that are somewhere in between, undecided or fluid. Stream desktop. There we go. Can you see that? Yeah, there you can. So if you look at the Deepcool CG530, oh, hang on. Someone's sent money. Who's that? Rasher. I love it when Rasher's on the piss. Hey! Rasher sent us another £20. Oh, sorry, €20. I thought it was a pound sign, it was a euro sign. Me astigmatism. My internet router is in my basement. You should say that I come from the land down under. Rasher, you've done well tonight. You actually have. That's been 2 corkers you've had.
He's taken over from Ugly Bob.
Ugly Bob's been demoted now. You've even got 7 likes on that as well. Come on, you miserable bastards. Oh, sorry. The camera's there. Come on, you miserable bastards. Give Rasher a thumbs up for that. That's a good one. I do like that. The old ones are the best. Right, let's get back to the over. Thanks, Rasher. Excuse me. Right, stream desktop. So, yeah, Deepcool CG530. So, if we look at this a little bit closer. Now, look at the top. Like, the USBs are in a slightly different configuration. Okay. They've put a little tab on the top of the mesh there, but it's got that same thing where it's got the indent and further back. The case front panel looks to be flatter, and they're using the Deepcool fans, which are basically the up Siren UF2s or whatever they were. But if you look at this, where are we? Yeah, the bottom is exactly the same. The feet are the same. Same filter on the bottom. The cutouts are in the same place. Basically, yeah, that's the same case. So clearly, if Deepcool and Antec are still doing the same case, it ain't made by either one of them. Yeah, that is absolutely identical. Looks like about the same width. Yeah, you've got these right angle cutouts there, which is in the same place. Yeah, it's even got the same perforations on the side, because the fans I noticed on the Antec they've got the fans mounted in a slightly odd position. So they're mounted on this side, and there's no adjustment, no extra rails. But on this side, you've got 3 rails. So doing 140s or even 160s, but they don't suggest 160s for it.
Skystalker?
Skystalker. Isn't Deepcool illegal to sell in the USA? I'm not sure. I think they were, but I think it's okay now. Yeah, look at that. That's exactly the same case. 4 screws holding in that bracket. Yeah, look at it. Although they have changed that section slightly, if it is still the same. This looks like a 3D generated drawing. Doesn't look like it's real. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But yeah, exactly the same design, same layout, same PCI slots. Firephone says, Mike, did someone tell you already you look alike the transporter? No, I've not heard that. Not today, anyway. These buttons are laid out differently.
No fans, no hubs. Or hub.
Yeah, it doesn't mention the fan or hub, does it? But yeah, it's exactly the same case.
No, it's still not allowed in the USA.
Ah, right, okay.
But available in Canada.
So, £25 cheaper for less fans and no controller by the look of it. Because those fans are daisy chainable. Let's have a look at features. Yeah, it's basically the same case.
But they give you 5 cable ties.
You do get 5 cable ties.
70.
Yeah, it just needs another 65 and it'll be alright. So yeah, basically that's what it is then, isn't it? Because I knew I knew I had seen it elsewhere when I was looking at it, and I was like, this isn't an Antec case. I know it's not. So that totally, I think personally, that totally justifies what I said, that this is not an Antec case. And it obviously isn't. Because if, yeah, if they can do it, or at least, yeah, Deepcool won't be using...
There's a controller, apparently.
Oh, there is a controller? Okay. Right. I might need to get one to see what it's like. We'll see. But yeah, I think that fairly justifies what I was saying, that it isn't an Antec case. I'm glad. Thank you. Who found that?
Lordos.
Lordos. Thank you for resting my... Because as I'm saying it, I know in my heart of hearts I've seen it before, or the design just doesn't look like an Antec design, but then seeing that where it is clearly exactly the same case with a few minor tweaks, it's the same chassis, and seeing it 25 quid cheaper with arguably nicer fans possibly. Yeah. Nick Barnes says 4 fans at 75 quid looks a good deal, even if the fans are bad. The thing is, the fans on the bottom, basically most people probably don't need or want. They're just for, they're gimmicks almost. So having 3 on the side and 1 in the back, that's all you really need. Jason Statham. Ah, dear. Skystalker says, wow, it is the same. It is exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same, but it's the same chassis, just slightly reworked, which is what a lot of companies do. Like I said, got Techwear, Sahara Gaming, Deepcool, obviously. Antec do it as well. Antec have been doing it for years. More recently, anyway, than their original stuff. Anyway, Firephone says, Mike, would you buy a 9070 XT? The price is steep. No, definitely not. I would buy one at MSRP, the original MSRP. I will now show you a bargain, which I also picked up. Now, you'll probably remember ages ago, I bought a similar model to this. I bought the Thermalright, I think it was the 240mm version of the Aqua Elite, or whatever it was. They're all the same anyway. They all use the same pump and the same fans, etc. Just slightly different variants. So I managed to pick this up. This is on Amazon.co.uk at the moment for 45 quid. Which, £45 for a 360mm AIO, to me, sounds a little bit too good to be true. So either it's going to be noisy as all hell, or it's a bargain and likely to explode. Now, I've had a couple of Thermalright units. Generally, they've all been okay. But I figured with the Antec C3, which we had on last week's stream, you know the build we did where it needed a little bit more white? We had that air cooler in there. I was thinking, like, for the sake of an extra 25 quid, I think a 360mm AIO is going to make that case pop. And again, it's covering up some of those parts of the motherboard which are going to be black. And yeah, 3 more fans in there, so a little bit more airflow. Bit more inconvenience with the wiring, but I think this will make that PC sell when I do come to sell it. So yeah, I think this is going to be good. And I want to fire it up now, and I want to see if the pump is going to be noisy. Now this obviously isn't a scientific test, and I'm going to go to the overhead camera so you can see what is included at the same time that I am. So you get instruction manual, lovely jubbly. You get some, there seems to be a lot of stuff in this box. So, oh actually, there's a little RGB hub PWM controller thing. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, there's a PWM splitter. So you can put all 3 fans into one plug. That's nice. And you get all the usual fittings, color-coded AM4 pink, Intel blue, and some of the new LGA stuff black. All nicely done, labelled up, and in... Oh, they're not reopenable bags, or some of them are. That's nice. Nice accessories kit. Nice to get the little splitter in there. That is very good. Put that to one side. The rest of it looks like... Actually, it smells like something's died. That's horrible.
What is it?
I don't know, you smell it. It smells like something's died in there.
Where?
It's just like rotten cardboard. I think someone's taken a shit in that box. Bastards. Some dirty bastard Amazon worker's been there.
It's got a bit of herb about it, hasn't it, as well?
Box it up, send it off to Mike. It does stink, doesn't it?
Well, it's got a bit of a herby smell as well.
I think someone's been eating through herbs and then just dumped them out in the box. Jeez, cat's peed in the box. It has got a little bit of cat piss to it, but
the cats haven't been near that.
yeah,
box.
the cats haven't been near it. Right, I need the power supply back.
Oh, mate, you didn't leave it. You left some there.
Mike is on point tonight, lol. I need a RGB controller, don't I?
Oh, Dave the cat doesn't pee anywhere. Not yet.
Game Max. Game Max. This brand is also, they copy lots and lots of stuff. If you look online, there's tons and tons of stuff. Actually, Game Max are supposed to be sending me a bunch of keyboards and mice, which they promised to do back in September. And they keep on emailing me like, oh, it's been so busy, Mike. Are we all right to send you off the stuff? It's like, yeah, just fucking send it. You ain't got to ask me, just send it. And if I like it, I might even show it. Oh, where did I put my controller thing? I was cussing. Yeah. No, I said my controller, not my ruler. Come on, we need another 9 viewers to make it up to the 200 mark. Come on. Turn on your other devices. Let's be having you. 191 peak viewers. Come on, 200, we can do it. Gingmax equals Gamdias. Not quite, but they use the same designs, definitely. Right, what have I not done here? That is in the on position. That is also in the on position. I'm plugged in. Oh, it's running. We have ignition. Right, it's going to hold this up here for a minute and let some of the air circulate it around. This apparently is at full blast at the moment, I think.
don't you put that cold plate on your head? See if it cools you down.
Well, that's kind of nice. Going to work tomorrow, I have a big copper mark on my head where it's gone green. That's really quiet.
Jump the pins on the 24.
You can just like hear it.
Never mind, love.
That is it, 100%. That ain't bad. Am I still on the overhead? I am, aren't I?
Put PC1 on. What's that mean?
Sorry.
Is that camera?
Yeah. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, the you can hear it. It's move. You can tell it's moving water. It's got a very slight whine to it. Let's try it down a little bit.
Down to 186 now.
That's at 75%, and that is just about audible if you're right up next to it. But that is a significant improvement on where we were previously. So I like that. And let's get some RGB lighting, because we've got some RGB lighting. Maybe spray it with Lynx Africa.
I prefer it as it is.
I could see that was falling. I chose not to do anything.
Let's grate some cheese on it.
Stay. Right, what can I put under there?
Ah.
What?
Oh, it's alright, it's delayed on mine.
There we go. Screwdriver to the rescue. Let's give it some RGB. 45 quid. This is nuts.
Oh, Nick Barnes, phone and 2 PC streaming, but still saying 184 viewers.
Oh, come on.
Gone up to 185 now.
Cool. Actually, have you got your phone?
Yeah.
Is it playing Mike's Unboxing?
No.
What's the matter with you?
I've got to keep an eye on the emails.
Right, these look like they daisy chains, so...
I rarely use YouTube, to be fair.
On the YouTube, on the goggle, oh dear.
I might push the boat out and give you a like.
Go on then. Kath's going to like the video,
I just like.
and she's a miserable bastard, so you should all be liking it. Why is that not what come off there?
Cats spent 20 minutes scratching the cat litter and still don't cover the crap.
Wow.
Ours don't even bother scratching around anymore, they just leave it.
Yeah, they're just like,
Just
well,
go.
we got humans for that sort of thing. Wow, that is bright white LEDs, isn't it?
The little ones still do it, the older ones just don't bother. In fact, the little ones bury it for the older ones, don't they?
Oh, why is this not working now? Come on. Oh, it's working. What is the on-off motherboard? Oh, because it's not connected, isn't it? So off. Yeah, that does work. And on.
Oh no, you're making my PC get...
Oh, sorry. You have to do it again later. Anyway, you can see it works. It has rainbow-esque thing going on. And some quite nice... I can't believe how quiet that is. That pump's awesome. And that's like fresh. Fresh. Oh, you just turned mine off now? Right, stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
You can have that because mine's off.
That's made your fans go. Right, I'll cover mine up so you can't affect mine. Don't point it. Right. Kath's got a GameMax case over there, the F15M, which also has a remote control from GameMax for controlling the fans. But they don't control it in exactly the same way. So depending on what you... Oh, you turned mine off again. Yeah, depending on what you press, sometimes it can go a bit weird.
You can keep that.
RGB War, that's what it is.
I don't want it on
YouTube. We've got 195. Right, hang on. Where's my phone?
Oh, Slim Boy's got his own.
198. Here we go. Come on, you can do it. 198. Let's get a view in here.
200.
200. No, I didn't see it.
Here's on mine.
It went to 198. I can see 198 on mine.
There's 200 on mine.
Let's have a look. I don't think I'm subscribed to myself.
They're all doing it from their homes. It's not just me.
Oh, you all got to. What is it? It says 198. Let me show you.
No, turn your fans off.
Oh. Stream desktop. You can see it says 198.
Mine says 193 now.
Like some. Oh God. Recently watched live. That's what we want. When is an Antec case not on... I'm so glad I did that thumbnail now. When is an Antec case not an Antec case? Awesome.
Give yourself a pat on the back, Babs.
Well done, Mike. I might even give my video a like. How can I do that?
You can close the chat.
Close chat.
And then it is.
Yay, there we go. Oh, that's taken one like off. I'll put that back on. We've got... Still says 198.
Mine says 199 now.
I'll leave that running for stats. Oh dear. Right, anyway. This, I think, personally, for 45 quid, is like insane value for money for a 360mm AIO. Now, I do have some slight reservations, one of which is just a bizarre thing. They've got metallic blue collars over the tubes for some reason. Like, that was completely unnecessary. If you've got blue light in, then yeah, that's absolutely fine. It seems like an odd decision. And I don't like the fabric on the tubes either. I prefer them to be plastic or rubber, or a plastic variant of this kind of mesh. But fabric, especially in white, it's going to get filthy. It's bad enough with black ones when you get a little bit of thermal paste on there and it's impossible to get off. With white ones, what are you going to do? You're never going to be able to bleach it or anything. So yeah, if they get dirty, longevity wise, probably not the longest lifespan on these, unfortunately, I think. But I think it still looks pretty good. And like 45 quid. Like, are you even serious right now? That's ridiculous. But are they noisy? That is something that we have not ascertained for the fans, so let's see. This is again not going to be a highly scientific test, as you've probably come to gather by now. And I can daisy chain these.
What is it in here?
How hot? 22.9 degrees Celsius with 56% humidities.
You hot?
I was earlier. I'm not now. I'm okay. I'm reasonable. 200. Oh, it says 197 on mine. Horrible bastards. Come on, watch the bloody video. Right. Minimum spin speed is well, 202. Get in, you lovely people. Stream desktop. There we go.
I thought you were going to do that.
Whoop, whoop.
Thing you always have.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You took it off.
I've not connected it. No.
Good. It was annoying.
Yay! Come on, get in there. Right, on the lowest possible spin speed, which is actually still got a little bit of strength to it. I was expecting it not to be at all, but it is moving a minimal amount of air, but it is completely silent. So let's take it up to 50%. Not bad. Not silent, but not bad. Where do we need to get to? So to make it basically inaudible, like 35–40%, which you could run it like that all day long. That'll keep your CPU nice and cool. Full blast. Obviously, you're probably never going to run them like this all the time anyway. Just under, like, if you're rendering the game or your CPU spiking.
Or I'm playing with it with my remote.
Or when Kath's doing silly beggars with a remote control. That's not bad. Most of the noise is actually just airflow. It's not the actual fans, it's actual airflow.
Quieter than that Antec.
Yeah, bizarrely, these fans, you can buy these fans in a pack of 5, I think, at the moment for like £18.
What about
maybe even less?
Motor noise wise?
Motor noise is absolutely brilliant. Very quiet indeed. I've got no qualms about the pump noise. I was concerned about that because last time I had one, it had a very defined pitch to it. This plastic feels better, more solid. What's that? Desperado. By the way, great content, Mike. It's my go-to channel for all my tech info. By the way, I was looking at this AO on Amazon, but was a bit unsure if it will hold up to that cheap price. To be fair, it looks great. I'm genuinely a little bit gobsmacked. Like I said, I'm not entirely keen on the fabric on the tubes. That would be the same for any brand, but it's 45 quid, come on. Now, I don't think there is going to be a CPU cooler on the market for 45 quid, which would match up to a 360mm AIO. I don't think even the Thermalright Assassin, the original one, I think that would still struggle to compete with the 360mm AIO.
Been using this for a year with no problems.
Who's that?
Palo, is it?
Oh, Palo. Been using this for a year with no problems.
Is it also available in black?
Yes, Mr. Wayne. It is. Someone in the chat is going to understand that reference.
It's Dutch Jan.
I know it was Dutch Jan, but someone's going to that is the question. Come on. Someone in the chat. Alright, my fingers and things. Someone please help me out here and say that you know what that reference is from. It's if not, I'll have to explain it, which kind of loses its thing. Come on, someone's Bruce Wayne, tough enough. O'Reilly says Hitman. Batman, exactly. Yes, Bruce Wayne goes to see Lucius Fox, and they got the tumbler, and it's all done in an army camo. He drives it, takes it for a test drive, and at the end of the test drive, he says, "Does it come in black?" And obviously, Lucius. Well, because Dutch Jan says, "Does it come in black?" It's the same phrase. It's what Batman said to Lucius Fox. John David Sullivan said Aquaman. This could be Aquaman because this is the Aqua Elite. Very good. Mark Gaines Lightman, yeah. Tough Enough says it was a guess. The Dark Knight, exactly. Ah, that reference. Yes. The only reason that's fresh in my mind is because I watched the Dark Knight trilogy again very recently. Because it's on Amazon Prime. Also, this fine specimen is also available on Amazon Prime through our affiliated links if you wish. That'd be very good. David Underhill says, who the fuck is Batman? Yeah, about that.
He wears his pants on the outside.
Yeah,
Robin.
basically, he wears his pants on the outside of his trunks. Or his pants.
So
he wears... Yeah. It's probably quite scary.
Why don't you go to work with yours on the outside tomorrow and see if Luke notices?
I might do that, yeah. I'll go to work tomorrow with my pants on the outside. Just walk around the shop. I'm Batman. Oh dear. It's not a bad idea. Fireflame says, is white normally more expensive than black? Yes, it can be. Quite often there is a... well, when the white components started coming out, there was definitely a price premium. When it comes to things like CPU coolers, fans, AIOs, and cases, generally these days they are all completely in sync, so you'll pay the same for the black version as the white version. When it comes to motherboards in RAM and graphics cards and power supplies, I would say the opposite is true. So a white graphics card would normally have at least £30 to £50 premium on it, depending on the model. John Davis says, "Where is it?" I'll have to do that when tomorrow in the shop.
Luke, I hate you.
Luke's gonna hate me tomorrow. I will do that. I will do I will be tomorrow in the shop. I will be Batman. I might even answer
that Baghdad man.
Yeah, I'll answer the phone as Batman. Hello, Motherboards. Hello, mate. You've got a battery for a Fiesta? Yes, we have many. If I do that, Luke will absolutely wet himself on the shop floor. That'd be hilarious. We should definitely do it. Cecil, or Cecil, however you pronounce that. What are your thoughts on iBuyPower PC? To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen one in person. Do they do those in the UK, or is it purely a American brand, or vice versa? I think iBuyPower is an American brand. I don't think they have stuff over here. If they do, I'm unaware of it. Nick Parr says, so funny. Desperado says, I'm dying. The thing is, what you lot don't realise is I will actually do that. Some people think I'm doing it for just jokes. Oh, you could tell that my browser's just crashed. Did you hear the fans ramping up in my PC behind? Chrome just shit the bed, so to speak. Let's refresh that one and close that one.
We used to live above a shop.
We did used to live above a shop.
And one night I dared Mike to go out and just his pants to put something in the bin outside the shop. But it was before mobile phones because we couldn't even film you.
Pumphead has RGB too?
Just to watch at that point. Did you actually do it?
No. I almost did. You stopped me from doing it, I think. Anyway, I think we've cleared that. O'Reilly says £20 in next week's stream if you answer the phone in the shop with that accent, Batman style. I'll record it on the phone. I'll get Luke to record it. I'll do it. I have no qualms. I would even take the Batman mask in and wear it.
Have you got one?
No.
Just colour it in with a Sharpie.
Yeah, I just have to colour my face in with a Sharpie and just attach some like car aerials to my head for the bat ears. That'll do. Viali says it's $46.99 on Amazon in black. Oh, I think there's, if you search for the Aqua Elite 360, there are two sellers on Amazon. One of which is Thermalright EU, and the other one is like 321 something. The 321. Ted Rogers. No one in the chat's going to understand that at all. Yeah, the other company sells it a little cheaper. I think the Thermalright EU is the more expensive of the two at the moment. So either look for other sellers or just type in the search again and look for an alternate listing. David Underhill says, well, answer is Mr. Humphreys, are you being served?
You can answer it something different every time.
Yeah, that'd be good. I could do that. Nick Barr says, Ted Rogers, afraid I do.
Oh, we watched it as adults.
Dusty Bin. There we go.
We understand the riddles, but we didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't make any sense, did they?
Right, I'm going to take this off now. Basically, yeah, this is great. And it's very quiet. I'm actually tempted to put this in my PC.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said I'm going to put... Funny enough, this is actually quieter than my Liquid Freezer 3. The Liquid Freezer 3 has a really annoying pump whine, especially if it's over like 50-60% on the fan, on the pump.
How would you answer the phone?
It's awful.
As Bullseye, bloke, Jim thingy.
Bullseye? Jim Bowen?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How would you answer the phone?
Jim Bowen. I don't know. Oh, I don't even know I could get into that
nothing
one.
In this shop.
Yeah. Don't get nothing in this shop for £1.
No, for doing it. What was it? Red or black?
Yeah. stay out of the black and into the red. You don't get anything for 2 and a bed. Is that it?
Something like that. You want us?
Nice bit of bully. Desperado, will you do some temp tests if you decide to install it on PC? Yeah, definitely. I've in my normal everyday rig, I'm running at the moment a Intel 14700K, which does still pump out a considerable amount of heat, and it'll still hit like 90 degrees Celsius, even with the liquid freezer 3. So it actually would be quite a nice test to do that. And also it'd be better for me as well, because this is narrower, so I'll be able to actually gain access to my RAM. I do like the 280s, there's something quite nice about the look in that case, but I might try this anyway.
About liquid coolers leaking.
No.
What are you laughing at?
So David Underhill says, answer it like Crocodile Dundee. That's not a battery, this is a battery. I might do that, that'd be a good one.
You used to know the bloke who pushed it out every week, didn't you?
I did, yeah. One of the guys who used to push out the speedboat on Bullseye was one of my mates, Ron Dowling. And yeah, he worked on that program for many, many years. I had quite a few funny stories to tell about that. Rasher says, my 5-year-old 3700X 3070 Ti 32 gigs of RAM keeps ramping up when I go to the comments emoji choices. Just did it again for that thinking emoji. This definitely sounds to live streaming, isn't it?
See, mine not crashed at all tonight.
It is very strange, isn't it?
Running before, like, when did you set it up? Like 5, 6 o'clock?
Yeah,
it's been running
before
since
that.
Set up.
Yeah, it's very weird. George Formby, that's a little bit before my time.
When
Sorry.
he's cleaning windows. You could do that as your little theme tune.
What?
When you're cleaning windows.
When I'm cleaning windows. Ding, 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 ding. Sorry. I'm tired and silly now. User 457 says, I don't think it's designed for that load. I don't know why, it should be alright. I can't imagine it being too much of a problem. Danny says, when I worked for Halfords, we used to answer the phone in character voices. It was quite funny and tell the complaints. Well, I've been trying to get sacked from work for ages, but I don't want to do anything bad. So doing something stupid is probably quite a good thing to do. Oh dear. Right, I think we've come up towards the end now. So if you've got any last minute questions, feel free to stick them in the chat now. And yeah, please feel free to do so. Whilst you are thinking about the questions you wish to ask, I'm going to put some links in the chat. So if you want to help support the channel and support what myself and Kath do here, excuse me, you can use premiumcdkeys.com, where you can get your license keys for Windows 10 Pro for about €3. And yeah, great value for money if you can buy one. And if they work first time, which they should do. Also, if you want to talk with other like-minded individuals who are slightly deranged and possibly speak in funny accents or put on voices, you can join our Discord. Links for that are also in the chat. 206, 208, Peugeot 208. And also, obviously, if you want to get something for yourself, but you also want to help the channel, you can pick up a mouse mat from technicallystable.com. You can put your own designs on, or you can put the Mike's Unboxing design on it. Choice is yours. They're roughly about 20 quid, including the postage. Sometimes there's some deals on, like 20% off, or they've actually got a range of ones which are called cocked up pads, which is quite funny because their logo is like a farmyard, and they've got a cock on there for like a cockerel. So if any of the pads they make get messed up while they're making them, then you can get an even bigger discount. So you just get a random cocked up pad, which is awesome. Rasher, my daughter was involved in a car accident yesterday. Oh no. No one was injured. I had to leave job, was on the go, try and pry wing off the wheel with a crowbar so we could get her off the road. Oh no. That's awful, isn't it? I hate things like that. But hopefully you're all okay, and yeah, expensive as well. Car stuff. Oof. Yeah, glad no one was hurt. Right, okay, looks like, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So, as always, thank you all so much for joining us on the live stream. It's much appreciated. Thanks to all of you as well that watch the videos, even though we're not like a high production value YouTube channel. Hopefully, the kind of the grassroots stuff we do here and trying to keep it as real as possible and being as honest as possible is something which you appreciate. And if it does, then please feel free to carry on watching and make sure you like and subscribe and maybe even tell your friends about it. So there's this lunatic in Bristol who talks a lot of nonsense about computer stuff, but he's sometimes a little bit entertaining. So you might want to subscribe to him. That would be great. Help get the numbers up a little bit. Not that it really makes any difference.
Thanks for joining us for our impromptu.
Yeah, thanks for joining us for our impromptu stream, which we did on Tuesday.
I already told you to say that word then.
I know. Hopefully, there'll be another impromptu live stream at some point on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. So keep your eyes and ears open, and we'll see what we can do. But until then, I think that is going to wrap this one up. Thanks all for your generosity and kindness, super chats, etc. You've all been amazing. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Did that work?